Hello.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Dev's Latest Issue podcast. I am your host, Mr. Vegas. I'm joined as always by my wonderful co-host, Mr. Fatman T.
Hello, everybody. And how are we this fine, beautiful evening?
Oh, right, Mr. Vegas was just closing the door to the studio because there was a fucking draft.
Hang on.
Right.
Bribery. There we go.
There we go. Dog bribed. That should buy us like 5 minutes of silence.
Yeah. Yes,
Oh.
the Night Say Show is dumb conspiracy theories that we know of, want to find and talk about. And yes, I know one conspiracy is my dog did not work for the CIA.
I don't know. Given how determined he is to kill me, I think he might.
Mossad, maybe.
No, I don't know. I've not pissed off Mossad enough for them to send in an undercover dog assassin. CIA, on the other hand, have definitely pissed them off enough for that job.
Yes, we know that the hot topic right now for everyone to talk about is Hassan's eventually been blocked from YouTube for his terrorist promoting ways and outright threats to members of Congress.
Yeah, but like, A, who gives a shit, and B, like, other people can cover it.
Yeah, and the other one is basically Trump declaring that everything's against him and
Yeah. You know,
He's-
the brewing war.
yes.
You know, and again, realistically, who gives a shit? And, you know, if people do give a shit, other people can go fucking talk about it. You know,
Yes, we've discussed it in length already. We're not. There's not much really new on it yet for probably another couple of weeks yet.
exactly. That's what it's like. We gave it attention enough already last week.
Yeah.
And like, fucking, you know, if I'm gonna die in a fiery nuclear blast, I'd like it to be a surprise. You know, I want either enough forewarning that I can get to safety, or I want it to be an absolute fucking surprise where I'm not gonna notice the skin burning off of my body. I regret eating that cham cake before we started because I've got a dog hair stuck to my fucking thumb and it's making rolling a fag quite difficult.
On this progress really started, me and Vegas have managed to just one of the worst desserts ever.
What? Sorry?
Hang on.
I'm starting next year. I didn't fucking hear you. What?
I was saying before we start, we both discovered the worst dessert ever made.
Yes, we did. Or well, the worst attempt at
And that dessert, yes.
dessert. I like, based on the ingredients, it sounds like a well-made version would actually be quite nice.
It does, yes.
If you're looking for the wrapper to said desserts, it's in the kitchen. I took it through earlier.
Did you?
Yes.
Yes, it
It was
was
sat here on top of a plate right in my fucking way, so it got moved.
the rum bamba,
Yes.
which in theory is a yeast cake made with then soaked in rum with cream.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus Christ,
The ones we got were fucking shit.
I mean, I know it says soaked in rum, but ours was like, you know, bathed in it.
Drenched. Like it was a fucking rum-based swamp in a
Yeah.
cup. It was fucking horrid.
Probably I could forgive it being rum based swamp if it was a good rum.
Yeah, it
It just wasn't. I know what it tastes like. It's like that first draw you get from your do chili.
Yeah,
You know, the one you're supposed to throw away because it's toxic.
yeah, it did taste very much like that. It was fucking. Sorry, I've just been punched in the fucking pancreas by a fucking dog. Like,
You're working your ticket tonight, sunshine.
I hate this job. Just one show. Can I just get one fucking show where I'm not climbed on like some kind of a fucking tramp? Like, could I get my bed to myself for one night this week, maybe? Better yet, one night this month would be fucking fantastic. Fucking. Could I go a day no getting touched off of a dog? Could this be arranged, please, dog? Fucking prick.
But I don't leave my door open for him so he can easily come in if he wants to.
Yeah, and he doesn't. He just boots mine in to come fucking be a prick.
Yeah. You must sense your weakness.
Like fucking see if I see if I get ready to go to bed one more time, right? Get me bits it, right? Lights off, and then sit down in a fucking wet bit because dickhead's been fucking licking his legs one more fucking time this month. I swear to God, I'm gonna crucify your neighbours. And they haven't even done anything to upset me. They're just the nearest human victim I have a chance against.
Who?
Your neighbours.
Yeah, I used to do that to me a lot. You know, you go to bed and like splat.
Like, the thing is, like, see if it was like the back of me thighs or like my knee or me ankle, wouldn't be too bad. No, every single time, right up me arse crack. Every single time I hit that shit dead on bullseye, ass crack and ball sack first. Right into the fucking puddle. Every fucking night.
Mine used to be my head.
Oh, it's like, cause he sits like right down the bottom next to like the TV and PlayStation. That's like precariously balanced on the end of the, like the chair with a couch wrapper, cause like warmth. And he'll just sit and fucking lick himself while he's there and I won't notice cause I'm sat doing something. And then like it'll get to night time, I'll go over, I'll grab him, you know, get the fuck off the bed while I get comfy. And I go to like sit down, like fucking maneuver under the blankets and shit. Every single time, just squelch.
Yeah.
Just sit down, just wet right up my arse crack, and it's like it makes me want to throw myself out of the fucking window every single time.
I know that feeling. You haven't done it in a while, actually.
Yeah, 'cause he's too busy doing it to fucking me.
So yeah, the name of the show is the dumbest things we could think of, or we've heard about, or we can find. Now, I did that video I was going to show last week. I did watch into it. I don't know if the guy on the video wasn't promoting the Void Century.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Remember I told you about last week when I mentioned that the 300 years of history was completely made up.
Yeah, that pesh.
Yeah. Well, the guy who was in the video I found, he wasn't actually promoting the century, just like
talking about
the conspiracy itself as a whole.
Yeah, that's bad enough.
And that. Now, the reason behind it, I learned, is that the Pope at the time wanted to have a party,
right?
And the best time for the party had to have it in the year 1000.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically forged a load of documents, built several cathedrals in order to make up this history point of the 300 years that was missing.
Right.
And all that, and several villagers teared up, then died, and now that, and he basically manufactured 300 years of history in about 6 months.
See, now there's one key flaw in this entire proposal. Literally every church on Earth has been carbon dated.
Yes. I know.
In order to cross-reference their actual build date roughly to their recorded build date. Every single one of them lines up.
Yes. Now this theory apparently was...
Unless the ancients of the world managed to find a way to fucking trick carbon dating by fucking dry aging rocks in a magic way...
Well, technically all you do is have to use rocks from the roughly right period.
No, because the way the carbon dating works is it's able to differentiate between a rock that was taken from, say, the fucking the Triassic period dirt layer and then chiseled into a brick, versus a rock that was chiseled into a brick during the Triassic period. Our carbon dating techniques are able to take those, like the man-made effect onto the brick into account to differentiate between, like, a naturally occurring brick-shaped rock. I'm having a stroke. Brick-shaped rock that formed during, say, the Triassic period, and a normal rock that formed in that period that was then later chiseled into an actual brick to use to build a pyramid.
Now, the theory for this comes from a German guy in the late 1980s, early 1990s. Right, now his reasons for his theory is that
let me have a rough guess, because this is obvious gonna lead into pseudo archaeological bullshit. Is you had to look at a really old church, right? He looked at it and he went, "That looks too modern to be built when it was, so someone's lying."
Nope.
I'm genuinely amazed that's not the answer.
Yep. Be honest, his answer, his theory why it happened, is all it's both dumb yet not dumb at the same time.
It's one of those things where, like, yeah, I could probably believe the church doing something like that, but we can, like, concretely prove they fucking didn't.
What starts out with two things. One, we switched over from that period to the Gregorian calendar from the Josephine calendar, which caused a mess up in like the
it caused some calendrical fucking
issues,
discrepancies, but all of said discrepancies can be figured out by doing some basic goddamn math.
Yes. Next was because there wasn't a whole lot of thing going on in the Dark Ages of history. Because, to be honest, it was not a very interesting time.
I would say, like the Dark Ages was mostly just kind of the church fucking around and people dying of the plague.
Yes.
Like, it was mostly the church banning science, and a lot of people died from several different plagues.
Yes, we don't believe that happened. We believe that was a case of because the history was just made up, so therefore that's why there's not much documentation around it. That and also
the reason there's no documentation is because there was nothing of note to write down. Like, there was, like, maybe 2 wars globally at the time, and, like, 5 plagues. None of which were ever cured, they just kind of fucked off.
And most people who could write anything were in the church, and they both basically spent the time writing, copies of the Bible.
Yeah, scripture and shit. They were a little fucking busy.
Right, and next one was the lack of archaeology dating around that period. There wasn't many new villages or towns sprang up, or any major construction events going on around that period.
Correct.
And that was his evidence for it being fake history, because before that and after it, there was massive booms in like constructions and buildings and all sorts of things happening and documentation going on and stuff like that.
That means the time period of roughly 1.2 million BC through to 982,000 BC doesn't exist, never happened, because we don't have a lot of archaeological proof from that time period, and there's not a lot of archaeological evidence of human migration from cave to cave.
Yes.
But yet, we do also have, plenty of archaeological evidence that time period existed, such as bones that can be carbon dated back to that time period.
Flint arrowheads, actual some vague idea of civilization and areas. Yeah, that was basically his whole reason behind it. So, although he's wrong, I can understand. Like,
no, I can't.
Purely like logic, like looking at things from without actually doing any base research, I can see why he came to that conclusion.
That's the problem I have of the even like back in the day before the Tinternet was available. Go to a fucking library and read 2 books and you'll realise you're like just wrong.
See, what makes it worse for this one though is this guy, although he was German, he was also specialised in medieval history. He was a historian working at a university.
So he had actual direct
access to the information he needed.
Not just access, but like unrestricted access to the information he could want.
Yeah, and I believe the university he worked at was the biggest one for medieval history in Germany, which is technically the biggest one in the world, actually.
We're not going to make it. The human race, I mean. Well, speaking of conspiracies, before we get into the stupid ones, I heard one recently that it's kind of similar but better to the fucking missing time period theory, because this kind of has some fact in it. It's one of those theories where, like, technically the base information is correct,
the conclusion's wrong,
but the conclusion reached upon based on the information is off.
Let me guess.
Well, it's commonly presented in a manner that is wrong.
Let me guess. Is this conspiracy theory American?
I don't remember. I don't remember the nationality of the person that wrote it.
It wasn't displayed on the History Channel.
Quite possibly, it may have done at some point. I don't know. It's not where I saw it. Weirdly, I learned about this conspiracy theory from a Mini Minuteman video.
All right.
That I was watching a few days ago, and it's quite fucking interesting. So it's a theory that was presented, I believe, written in I think it was the 1970s, if I remember rightly. It was written about the Great Pyramids of Giza. right, out in Egypt.
Is this
I
one?
may have my time period off based on your look. But
I think this is one where the pyramids were just ancient power plants.
partially. It is that theory, but that's not the original proposed theory. That's
Yes.
the more modern bastardization of the theory.
Yes.
Because like weirdly, this theory's could become a bit like a religious scripture in the sense of a lot of people read it and completely misinterpret the final
Yeah,
conclusion of the
I know which
theory.
one video you're on about now.
Yes. So, because like the theory, the original theory basically states, if you look at the placement of chambers within the pyramid,
Yes.
and like a lot of the building materials used to create the pyramid, if you were to fill I can't remember what, there's a certain chamber in the pyramid. If you were to fill that chamber with I can't remember the name of the gas, but a certain type of gas that's like good at conducting electrical photons, and were to find a way to vibrate like the entire building in a certain way,
Yes.
it would basically be able to generate a shit ton of power. That was the original theory proposed of, theoretically, I believe you could do that with the pyramid, but we shouldn't.
Yeah, because
But you could, technically.
if I remember correctly, the pyramids contain a lot of quartz crystallized sandstone,
Yes.
which, as anyone actually bothered to look at it, and Rousseau salts as well.
Yes.
Because Rousseau salts is what used to be used in microphones
Correct.
a lot of time, which you can basically vibrate them, they create electrical signals.
Yes.
Same with quartz, hence why quartz is used in clocks a lot of the time to keep
Yes.
track of time and stuff like that.
Now, what happened, I believe it was around the 1990s this happened, was a lot of people read that theory and basically misunderstood that final conclusion of, in theory, you could do that with the pyramid,
Yes.
and took it as this theory was presenting that the ancient Egyptians did do that, and that was the reason the Great Pyramid was actually built.
Yes.
Was that the Great Pyramid was top secretly, a massive electrical power generator the way it worked was that the ancient Egyptians had built motors on the outside of the pyramids
Yeah, I remember.
to like basically like move certain bricks and like that are like loose today, and in a particular manner. They would basically stimulate the entire
Yeah,
structure to vibrate
As an
to
effect-
generate electricity.
As an etheric resonance cascade,
Yes.
I think it's called. Tesla came with that theory.
Now there's two main problems with. No, sorry, I thought there's three main problems with that theory.
Only three?
Three major ones that kind of definitely rule it out. Problem one, there's less than no evidence to support the idea the ancient Egyptians had any fucking idea about electricity whatsoever. Problem number two, if you say Baghdad battery, I will genuinely punch you. I don't even. Problem number two, and this is a key fucking problem. It's for electricity to go from pretending the pyramid did work that way. For the electricity to leave the pyramid and go power other shit, there'd need to be wires and things, and there's no archaeological evidence of any wires ever being there of an
No.
electrical nature. And the reason you'd need those wires is because, despite what a lot of people seem to think for some reason, electricity doesn't work the same way as fucking Bluetooth. Problem number three, and this is a big one. The ancient Egyptians didn't know how to make automatic fucking motors.
The fourth one is they didn't have any idea what gas properties were.
To be fair, you could make the argument of like technically they probably could have figured that out, but like the movement and placement of gas into the chamber is the like honestly the most believable part of it, because like yeah, okay, fair, it's not hard to get a jar, hold it over a fucking steam vent and then plug it up like that. I could believe
Yeah, but
that.
isolating the very specific gas you needed for this.
Even then,
It's
like
still way beyond.
trial and error, I could believe they'd fucking have a bash, you know.
Now,
That bit I
one
can
of the theories-
fully understand.
But another thing that goes on with this one, hand in hand really, which wasn't appearing in the video, is because it's one of the ancient aliens theories, which I still love, is the pyramids were basically, I can't believe I want to say this out loud, docking stations for ancient alien spacecraft, and the pyramid power plant. Yes, FBI agent. Was used to recharge alien spaceships when they went back off into space.
See, but now you know what? See, since we're on the pyramids, I'm gonna fucking rant about the pyramids for a minute, right?
Okay.
Because fuck it. Do you know what genuinely pisses me off? just in like, especially in the world of pseudo-archaeological bullshit,
Yeah, right, okay.
right? You see the fucking dickheads who are constantly like, well, how did the Egyptians build the pyramids? Like, how did they move the bricks? See those fucking dickheads, right? Mm-hmm. They will happily question the Great Pyramids of Giza, right? Do you know what was built around the same kind of a time with similar technology? The fucking Roman Colosseum.
Yes.
So we can believe that the Romans...
Well, no, the Roman Colosseum was built much later.
In terms of like the technological time scale, around the same time period. Let's be fair.
same
Here,
1000
technologically speaking, it was the same fucking.
Same
day.
2,000 years, yes.
You know, like we're gonna question how the Egyptians moved fucking 50-ton stones, right? But we're not gonna question how the Romans did the same fucking thing on a equal scale of size.
Now, see, I don't know about the same one. It is, you get people saying, well, we can't build pyramids today because we just don't have...
Yes, we can. We just don't, because there's no fucking reason to build a pyramid. We have better ideas.
And better materials to do it with. Because it came out
that as well,
that
right?
sports company's pyramid they built.
I was gonna say, like, the
Out of glass
Bass
and steel?
Pro Shop pyramid is like current evidence that we can build a pyramid today.
Yeah.
It's just woefully inefficient. There's no fucking reason to do it anymore.
Probably like saying, my favorite one about pyramid though is like, I've not seen there's no space to even put like a hair or piece of paper in between the bricks, so much so they use laser leveling. It's like, yes, that's how construction works.
Oh,
It's not much hard to think of when people sit there and look at bricks like, these must meet.
Yes.
How do chip? Yep.
That as well is it completely ignores like a hack that every tradesman in the building world has known since the year 2.
What, the string plumb line?
No, see if you cut a brick and it doesn't lie flush. You add extra fucking mortar there.
Well,
And it-
the pyramids didn't have mortar,
It
so...
blends in. Oh.
Pyramids didn't have mortar.
They had like a fucking sand-based equivalent, to be fair.
And like,
I don't remember the name of Egyptian like fucking
No, they didn't.
mortar, but they
The
had a thing
pyramids
similar.
didn't use what it did was they used probably sandstone to what it's used for. It's basically got the stones that went crunch, 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 so they sand each other down until they met.
No, there is actually evidence that there is like a fucking like a little layer in between the like
Not
each
on
of
the-
the bricks. It's like adhesive in nature.
Not in the Giza ones, which I want. The Great
Yeah, not
Pyramids.
the Giza. It's the like some of the later pyramids that had it.
Yeah, which ones about 1000 BC rather than around 2000 where the pyramid Giza ones.
No,
built.
the original pyramid, like the I think is Giza the first one that was built?
Not the
Is it
first.
like the oldest one?
Not the first, but the 3 Great Pyramids of Giza are the oldest examples of the what we call it the straight-sided pyramids.
Yeah, because there's a pyramid. I know for a fact there is an Egyptian pyramid that still stands today. I think it's like the oldest one that we like can still go look at.
You're probably
Like
thinking of the
in
Valley of the
Egypt,
Kings.
that was built during the fucking Stone Age.
You're
It was literally built at the same time as Stonehenge.
You're probably talking about one in the Valley of the Kings, which is a
I think it is one of the ones in the Valley of
step
Kings.
pyramid.
Yeah,
So it has a smooth sides, it has
Yeah.
steps going up.
it's one of yeah. I think it is that one. But
The
it
problem
was-
with the pyramids is
that
everyone-
one was like it might not be that exact one, but there is a pyramid in Egypt that was built. I think there's literally like 5 years between that pyramid and fucking Stonehenge, and that terrifies me. It terrifies me the fact that the Egyptians were that far advanced while like Europe was still fucking around.
But it's worse is Egyptians building that and the Chinese building pagodas.
True, but still, it's just because like. See, like when it comes to like countries like China and Japan being like ahead of every cunt else historically for technology,
Yeah.
yeah, it just that's the status quo. It makes sense. You'd never question it, right? Egypt in particular is not really one of those countries where you look at their shit and you think, oh yeah, they were like advanced compared
I
to
don't know.
Europe. Like you usually think they were either just behind us or about on par with us.
No, because when you think
But
about
then
it,
you actually look at it and go, yeah, there was a point where we were like on par and they were slightly behind, but like for a big chunk of human history, they were way the fuck ahead of Europe, and that is
yeah,
horrifying.
because we were still doing a lot of hunter-gatherer shit when
Yeah.
they were building like the grand structures.
Even then, like, technically Egypt entered the Bronze Age at something ridiculous like 300,000 years before Europe did. Like the Kopesh was invented in Egypt while the rest of Europe was still using rocks.
Yes.
That terrifies me.
But look-
We hadn't even found the bronze yet, and these assholes had figured out swords.
What happens is what people have to do is they It's because it's saying like, Cleopatra was dealing with Julius Caesar at some point,
Yes.
right? So they have a habit of linking ancient Rome and the Romans together as one like time block.
in the rooms.
Yes, sorry,
Yeah.
as one time block.
Yes.
Same with some Chinese history.
Whereas like with like Egypt and like ancient Rome, like that was like the tail end of the Roman Empire, and like the I'm gonna say 70-ish% mark of Egypt's existence.
No, it was about 90% of Egypt's existence at that point. At that point,
I don't know. There was a good like I think like 5 or 6 pharaohs after Cleopatra.
yeah, but they didn't last.
Whereas like there was what
very long.
4 after Julius Caesar before fucking your
Technically,
man fucking.
Remember the fall of Rome itself, about 4, but the fall of the Holy Roman Empire itself was about 9.
Yeah, cause like I base it off the fall of Rome rather than the fall of the Roman Empire, because the clue's in the name, Rome fell.
Yeah.
Therefore, the empire fell by default because the Roman Empire stopped being the Roman Empire at that point and became the Byzantine Empire.
Yeah.
Because they now had to move their capital.
Then the Roman Empire
Byzantine,
technically
but-
restarted again during the 3rd century
That's your paper. Sorry.
when the papal office came into full swing
Yeah.
and that type of stuff, and that started the whole like war between the city-states of like Valencia, Florence,
Yeah.
and that type of stuff. But yeah, a lot of people assume that the history of Egypt is very linked to the same history timeline as Rome.
Yeah,
And
it's
people forget
really
it's
not,
like 6,000 years in between the two fucking things.
There is. You know, it's.
By the time Cleopatra was born, the Great Pyramids of Giza were already being graffitied by Romans.
No, they'd already been graffitied. Like, because like while that is true, there's a way more interesting fact about the Great Pyramids of Giza in particular around Cleopatra's reign. Is when Cleopatra like was born, the Great Pyramids of Giza were already considered ancient fucking relics.
Yeah, they were 2,000 years old at that point.
Like they were already fucking like. Cause it's a fact like a lot of people have probably heard, but I still love saying it because it even blows my mind today. Cleopatra was alive closer to the fucking moon landings than she was the building of the Great Pyramids of Giza.
Yeah, way closer. It's amazing when you think about it.
It's so fucking weird.
The Giza pyramids you're talking were built around like I think 3000 BC ish.
I think it's like 3200 BCE.
Where Cleopatra was like, 68 BC.
No, I think she's AC for Cleopatra.
I think I did a birth like.
Cause I'm sure Caesar was AC.
No, Caesar was.
I'm sure he was born and his reign began after the death of Christ.
No, I think it was just before death of Christ.
And I'm sure it was after. Because if I remember it, like during 0 AD, Pontius Pilate was already old as shit. And like, if I remember rightly, him and Julius Caesar didn't meet. But when they met, Pontius Pilate was already like again old as fuck and retired.
Hello, Caesar.
I think it's AESER.
There we go. Born 100 BC.
Oh shit!
Assassinated 44 BC, so it was before Christ.
Fuck, I remember him being way after Christ. I remember it being like 28 AD.
Yeah, 96 to 30. So
That's 69.
69 till 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she was alive during Caesar's reign, shall we say.
Yeah, because her and Caesar did the dirty.
Yeah, and then
she had his kid, then Caesar was murdered, and then she hooked up with Mark Antony for a bit.
Yes. And then she was eventually executed. Well, she committed suicide by
She committed suicide via a snake, which was, if I remember it, was it a black mamba she used to commit
No, it was a
suicide,
cobra.
or-
It was a cobra.
Is that a cobra?
Yeah. A cobra she imported from Africa. Because she used to one of the tricks was like putting the hand in the pot,
Yeah.
the thingy. But yeah, like I say, it was like, I'll check. I'm pretty sure the Pyramids of Giza. Great Pyramids of Giza. 2600 BC.
Ah,
4,000.
I remember it being like 3,200. I was off a little bit.
So was that, 'cause I was about 3,000 myself. And that's only off by about 400 years, so not too bad. And that. So yeah, it's, as you can tell by the time, she was born way closer to the moon landings. About 500 years closer than, about 500 years from the moon landings, give or take?
I think it's about 500 years, yeah.
No. 1,000 years.
Yeah, because the moon landing was the, what, 1960s?
1960. So yeah, not far off 2,000 years. So it still had five,
Yeah, about 500-year difference.
about 600 years difference between the two events. Which doesn't seem like a lot to people, but it's
It's a shit ton.
a shit ton of time. Because in there's like there's Roman documents written down of the nobles of Rome going to Egypt on pyramid tours
Yes.
to tour the ancient sites of Egypt and Mesopotamia at the time, and they're doing archaeology on them, trying to figure out the time period of the fucking things.
And the thing that's genuinely wild is, see, because the Romans did those archaeological like trips out to Egypt,
Yeah.
like to go visit the pyramids and shit. Those Roman expeditions are like half the reason we have trouble figuring out Egyptian history.
This
now.
one. Oh, thank you.
Like it's not because like they stole shit. It's like literally, like you said a little bit earlier, is they literally graffitied a lot of shit while they
Yeah.
were at it. Like there's some points in some of the temples where you can find evidence of like that bit of the temple, much like when we found it, had been buried when the Romans found it. So they had to dig shit out, and you can see like the chunk marks in the rock, where some of the Roman troops that were like digging it out, like clearly weren't very good at digging holes in sand, and were just fucking taking chunks out of the fucking bricks.
What's even worse when
Literally for decades, archaeologists were convinced those chunks in the rocks were like they had a purpose. They were like part of the designs, and then we found those documents.
Yeah.
They showed the Romans had gone and done it, and the Romans fucking admit to that mistake in those
one of my
documents.
favourite
It's like,
ones is
fuck!
the lost city of Bataan in Egypt.
Sorry?
Lost city of Bataan.
What?
Lost city of Bataan.
The Lost City of Bataan, yeah.
Right, because everyone believes it had some, because they've got these ruins of this city-state in Egypt.
Yes.
Completely devastating. Think, oh, what the fuck happened here? Some great battle happened here.
No.
No, the check the records. What happened was the Egyptians and the Romans at the time wanted to build a new town close to the Nile. Found this other city that wasn't quite being used, so they went over, dismantled it, removed all the fucking stone.
Yeah, just
To the
moved
new
the shit
city.
over to build a new city.
Like that's been stuff for 1,000 years on news. Like, come on, just use that.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's been stood there for 1,000 years, but no cunt lives there anymore.
Yeah.
We're not using it. Fuck it. Move the shit from there over there. Right? I want a new thing over here. Fucking get it moved.
One of my favourite theories I love is the Sahara, Greenland. Right, when people think, oh, Sahara's been a desert for thousands, like, no, it's been a desert
There was a period of time where the Sahara Desert was essentially like a savanna plain, if I remember rightly.
What?
Is what it fell under.
No, it was kind of like part of it was tropical jungle. Literally.
True, technically, but like.
Do you know when?
I mean, like as a geographical whole of the full
Yeah.
continent, it was technically a savanna plain.
do you know when that was? Roughly in history.
You know, if you'd asked me this either yesterday or the day before, yeah, because I watched a video on this the other day.
Yeah.
I know it was fairly recent. I want to say it was like.
500 years ago.
Okay, I was gonna guess like fucking like 1,000, but.
No. There's still evidence it was a lush green paradise about 500 years ago.
I mean, makes sense. Dear, that does make sense given like some of the fucking animals that live out in the savannah.
Yeah.
Like some of them don't make sense for a desert, do they?
Not that there's some of the stories from like local towns of like massive rivers and ships being fill ships up it. Because like, remember the Sahara movie? Well,
No.
the movie based on the bounty. They're looking for this ship from the American Civil War, which vanished, and they
Right.
found it right in the middle of the Sahara Desert.
Uh-huh.
Go to town. The town says, "Oh, there was a river here that it flew up." Right, and that was only about 200 years ago. Now, there's evidence of that river around about the movie, because that's what they used it for. Been there about 200 years of this giant river, big enough to take on like almost like a galleon, could fit up it,
Yeah.
and it's no longer there. It went retreated below ground. So even like 200 years ago, there's still plenty of usable water and land
Yeah.
existing. That's no longer there now.
Which, like, in fairness, that's because we're like in the middle of an interglacial period where the planet is naturally warming.
Yes,
And no, that's not me saying that global warming isn't happening. Like it fucking is, and we are devastating the planet, and it's warming up way fucking quicker than it should be because of our carbon emissions. But
yeah, we are attributing to the increase of global warming, but it's
Yeah.
a natural cycle the planet goes through of warming, cooling, warming, cooling.
correct. But if we carry on in the way we are when it comes to like our carbon output, the planet literally won't be able to bounce back to that cooling period, and we will cook ourselves alive as a species. But you know, When I point that out, even though there's like a shit ton of scientific evidence to support that claim, I'm the fucking asshole somehow.
The problem
Not the
is,
billionaires actively doing it and trying to suppress the evidence that what they're doing is just downright fucking disgusting.
the problem is also like some of the climate scientists are also wrong in like the idea of that just stop using everything that burns and the planet will be fine. Bullshit.
I mean, technically that would work, but also like we'd like set fucking society back about 150 fucking years.
Yeah, humans are
Like
not.
we literally don't have the infrastructure to make that change overnight. But also we're not putting the new infrastructure in place to make the change quickly enough.
Humans are not very good at mitigation. We're better at adaptation.
True, but like again, like if we carry on the way we are for too much longer with our carbon output, we like the planet literally will not come back and we will go fucking extinct from a global fucking overheating.
I wouldn't
We
say
will literally cook alive.
no, I wouldn't say we were extinct.
Yeah. We genuinely will. The planet will literally reach a point. If I remember rightly, it's about 1,000 years from now. If we carry on with our current carbon output for the next 20 years, we're fucked. 1,000 years after that point, the planet will like get to the point where it should begin cooling off again, and it will have gotten so hot it literally will not be able to as a direct result of our carbon input, and we will cook alive because the planet's temperature will just keep dropping. Not dropping, like heating. Sorry. I had the words mixed up because I had the graph in my head for how the fucking interglacials work. And because, like, when it gets hotter, the graph goes down because the graph's weird. But no, we will literally turn the planet into a fucking oven.
No, I don't.
Yeah. Literally every piece of environmental evidence, like recording CO2 emissions, shows that if we do not fucking cut down within the next 20 years, by at least 20%, we will literally turn the planet into an oven. And it will not be able to recover.
No, because the environmental data
Yeah.
I've seen is during the last ice age trigger, carbon emissions were 90% higher than what they are now.
Correct, but those were natural carbon emissions, not fossil fuel emissions.
It's same carbon's carbon.
It's not.
It is, yes.
It really is not. But like burnt carbon, like being caused by burning of fossil fuels, is more damaging to the environment because there's more carbon per
Yeah, but carbon.
whatever the fuck that term is. I think is it carbon per capita or some shit? It's like the rate for like how many fucking atoms of carbon are in a fucking smoke plume
yeah, I know
or
what you
fucking
mean.
oxygen atom or some shit.
Yeah, it's the particle density.
That's particle density. Like that was the word I was looking for when I was trying to say carbon per oxygen. The carbon density rate is higher in so like artificially burnt fossil fuels than like say
Yeah, but still though,
like naturally occurring smokes
my
from
point
things
is,
like fucking volcanic
during the last trigger of the
eruptions.
ice age, the carbon density was higher than it is now.
It
even
was really wasn't.
it was.
It really wasn't.
It was because it had several massive volcanic eruptions which
Because
caused.
the problem with that statement and argument is it completely ignores the change between then and now, like in terms of the global like temperature. Back when those volcanoes were erupting, the planet was already colder. That was the planet essentially
planet's
trying to
hotter then.
start that warm up period to come out of the ice age into the interglacial
No,
period.
during the last
Yes.
integration, the planet was actually warmer by contrast to it is now. By at least 15
it really
degrees.
wasn't. The
It
clue's
was.
in the name, Fat Man T. Ice Age.
Right. No, before the ice age, before the ice age triggered, that period of the planet's development
Correct.
was much warmer than
At
it is
that
now.
point, yes, the planet was warmer because it was the end of the interglacial and it was getting
the carbon
ready to
density-
start cooling off to go into an ice
And
age.
the carbon density back then in the atmosphere because of the volcanic triggering mechanism was 90% higher than what it currently is now.
Correct.
Right? And then that ice is still ice is still triggered.
Yes.
Right? So saying that in 20 years, which we still don't reach the same saturation we did back then of carbon.
In 20 years' time, if we continue our current carbon output, we will not only reach that carbon density level in our atmosphere, we will fucking surpass it. We will surpass it by such an amount the planet literally will not be able to bounce back from it, and our planet will turn into a fucking floating oven in space. We will be burnt alive
I've
if
not
we
seen
continue
it.
the way
Of
we're
all
going.
the information I've read some recent ones. I've never seen any evidence of that one.
There's plenty of evidence of it if you look at the interglacial period graphs and compare it to our carbon data from then and now.
Yes, I've looked at it. And
The current math lines up of if we do not cut our carbon emissions by at least 20% within the next 20 years, the planet will not be able to bounce back from the
information-
damage
information
done,
I've
and we
seen-
will literally overheat the planet.
this information I've seen is within the 20-year mark, right, is when the temperature reaches the point where the ice caps are irreversibly
Yes.
disturbed.
Correct.
which would cause the flow of fresh water into the Atlantic, which would affect the currently undercurrent jet stream,
Yes.
which is used to keep the northern hemisphere pretty much warm.
Yes.
Once that's disrupted, that would trigger a ice age event.
Wrong.
It's not wrong, because that's what usually keeps it warm.
It is incredibly wrong.
No.
Yes, because that information completely ignores the fact that we will, again, assuming we don't cut back within 20 years, we will still be burning fucking fuels, like artificially adding heat to the planet as well as density to the planet's atmosphere, which will counteract that ice age event, which is what will cause, essentially, the ice age to fail to kick in and our temperature to continue to rise at an irreversible rate, which will cook us all alive.
Collapse of the jet stream would also trigger supersalvo weather events.
Yes. That is true, yes.
Which would then cause the depressurization and rapid cooling temperature.
No.
Yes.
No. Because again, we will literally be putting out more carbon than any fucking hurricanes and storms will blow off of the planet for us.
Well, it wouldn't blow off the planet, but the idea where it generally works is once the ice age area hits and you have the rapid cool down period, is the snowfall
Yes.
captures the carbon in the atmosphere, which causes a drop down to the ground.
See, again, the problem is for the snow to even happen in the first place, the temperature has to be low enough.
Yes.
By the time that ice age kicks in, because of the amount of carbon that's going to be in the air and the density of the atmosphere, it literally will not be capable of... The planet will not be capable, of reaching a temperature low enough to allow snow. The planet will have overheated so much by that stage that the snow will not be able to trigger.
I must admit, we'll have to look at the new data you're on about, because the data I saw last year didn't show any of that.
Yeah.
Well,
That's because despite what a lot of motherfuckers will tell you, and namely motherfuckers who are either wrong or being paid off, our carbon emission hasn't fallen since last year. It's increased!
Well, yes, because the core batteries cause massive amounts of problem.
Not just because of our battery creation, like lithium mining and shit, but also because China has, since last year, literally tripled its carbon output and fossil fuel usage rates.
Yes, because
despite their official claims being that they've cut it in half.
Yeah.
If you actually look at the carbon output data for their region from last year to this year, their carbon out rate has tripled.
Yes. I know that. I know the biggest problem, with the carbon side of it, is countries like India and China.
Yes. Who keep saying, we've cut our emissions, and then you actually look at the data and it's like, no, you've literally tripled your output, you cut.
Also, the problem is with them two countries basically, is although as a Western nation we can switch over to nuclear power.
Yes.
To help alleviate the fossil fuel
If you're
problem.
about to try and tell me China doesn't have the resources or fucking capability to move to a greener fuel, I'm going to get angry, because yes, the fuck they do.
No, I'm not.
90% of the world's solar panels are built in fucking China,
Yes,
and they have the perfect climate to use them.
But as you also know, solar panels are not even very good.
Yeah, they're not very good in certain environments. In fact, a majority of the world's environments, but there are plenty of locations, China being one of them, as well as the Californian coast, where they are 98% efficient.
Yes.
Which is currently better than every fossil fuel we have combined.
Yes, because I think the current rate of energy exchange with fossil fuel is something the best we've got is...
Like, if you take the efficiency rates of coal, woods, and gases, take their efficiency rates and literally combine them together by going 10% plus 20% plus 30%, gives you fucking 72% or some shit. Even if you do that math that incorrectly and take that statistical number, setting up solar panels in those strategic locations where they are the most effective, but we somehow seem to refuse to build them there, solar panels would generate more fucking electricity a year in those locations than those fucking fossil fuel methods do currently globally on their own.
No, there's not enough energy to run the world.
Not for the world, but what I'm saying is if you took the Californian coast and you built fucking solar panels in the Californian coast.
Yes, you go to California.
We would get perfect sunlight levels and direction to run solar panels.
Yes, in California.
You would generate more electricity doing that than filling the same amount of fucking area in California with those fossil fuel generating fucking buildings.
Yes, I agree. California, you
would make more electricity doing that way.
Every home in California had the solar panels on the roof.
Not even just if every home, literally if we took some of the fucking unused land in California, built solar panels and wired them straight into the energy grid to store up public electricity, that would generate more fucking electricity for that landmass than building one of every fucking power plant that isn't nuclear.
Yes, I do. Don't get me wrong. I do agree with that. Electrification solar panels are effective, especially sodium panels.
Yes.
Are damn well effective. That sodium panels are also dangerous.
Again, if even like the shit solar panels, if they are built in the correct places, they are fucking incredibly effective.
Yes, in Grimsby.
Unfortunately, every place like that you should build them where they will be that effective, everyone that has the power to build them there fucking refuses to do so, and I can only assume it's because they're being paid off by the fucking petrol companies. Because why wouldn't you want more electricity? More electricity is more shit to sell. More shit to sell is more goddamn money.
The Dubai Wall City we looked at there.
Yeah.
It was there a couple of years back.
I mean, fuck the city part. Just literally fill the desert of Dubai with fucking solar panels. Job done. We have a country that's a power plant, and we don't have to worry ever again.
That's it with the Dubai Wall City. The entire wall facing, like, edge of the wall faces the sun on a constant basis. That wall is just a massive solar collector.
And again, like, all I'm saying is, if you took that square mile radius they would build that city in with the wall, skipped the city part, and just filled that area with solar panels. We would literally have more than enough solar panels there generating enough electricity to give up on fucking fossil fuels.
They did do that once. They actually did build a giant solar farm in like a desert region.
Yes, and if I remember rightly, it was back in the 1990s.
1999 to 2005, I think it was shut down afterwards.
Yeah, back when our solar panel technology was fucking horrid compared to today.
But it hasn't really gone much further on, to be honest. The biggest problem.
All I'm saying is, back then the efficiency rate for a solar panel was 73%. We're up to, again, with the best solar panels in the best environments, 97.
No, the problem with them back then was not the efficiency rate. It was the problem is you had frequently sandstorms in the deserts where sand blows up. Now they fuck over the solar panels.
Correct.
And that was the biggest problem with putting the solar panels in the desert, was the sandstorm would just ruin them after about a year. So cost-wise, it was more expensive to keep replacing the panels than it was actually to run the damn thing.
See, but the problem there is, again, if you took that square mile radius they're planning to build the fucking new city in Dubai and filled that with solar panels, we would literally be able to generate enough electricity that we could drop every other fucking power plant pretty much globally.
No, you couldn't.
And be pretty much solid.
No.
Yes.
Now, the best place you want
like Fatman T, we're talking like fuck.
That
city is proposed to be, if I remember, 32,000 square kilometers of building. 32,000 square kilometers worth of just goddamn solar panels would do the job about 4 times over for like powering the world. Like, that's a job done, game over, let's go home.
No, enough power to generate the size city of the building, supposedly, and the panels have got was enough to generate that power of that city. But realistically, if you want the best conversion of energy from the sun to for the panels, your best bet is to use solar farms in space and transfer the energy from space to the ground.
Correct, but how the fuck do you propose we get the energy from space to the ground in the first place? Because as I read earlier with the whole pyramid theory, electricity doesn't work on fucking Bluetooth. So unless we're proposing we run a cable from space.
I've heard that one before, yes.
And if I even have to explain why that's just fucking retarded, I'm gonna lose a little bit of faith in you as a human being here, Fatman T. You know, you spend enough episodes bullying me. If I have to explain why that's a bad idea, it's gonna be my turn. Unless we're proposing we build a cable from fucking space, from the satellites, and satellite to satellite in space, to transfer all the electricity down onto the planet, unless that's what we're proposing, that's not gonna work. Because again, electricity isn't fucking Bluetooth.
There is a way of doing it, yes.
No, there's not.
There is.
There literally isn't. The closest technology we have for doing it fucking wirelessly with the electricity is those goddamn wireless chargers you get for your phone that Bluetooth the electricity. And they have a range of about a millimeter.
No, there isn't no way of doing it. And it is effective, it's just not effective on Earth. And that's infrared transfer.
See, now the problem there, and you literally gave yourself the problem in and of itself when you said those words.
No, hang on, I'm fixing one problem.
Doesn't work on planet.
Is you're transferring energy from satellite to satellite. Right, so from massive solar rig to massive solar rig, you transfer energy that way. You transfer it to a collection point. Now, as for your cable idea to the Earth, remember, there are plans for a space elevator.
Yeah, which are fucking ridiculously stupid because, you know, spoiler alert, there's kind of a lot of shit in space floating around the fucking planet that we put there and forgot about.
There is, yes.
You know, there's that entire fucking, essentially, ring around Earth of just fucked shit from spaceships.
Yes, trash.
You know, like space junk. Now, I'm no expert or nothing, but if you had a big fuck off cable going from satellite to ground, and there's a big ring of shit in the in between these two locations, and the cable has to go for that location, and said cable's going to be moving because the planet fucking moves. The cable's going to be passing through a ring of literal shit. Now I'm no electrical engineer, but I'm pretty fucking sure shrapnel at high velocity speeds isn't exactly good for the health of an electrical cable.
Well, it won't be exactly a cable, it's more a case of the three designs I've seen before of this idea was, again, it was developed back in like the early 2000s. Right? There's the Dragonfly idea where basically all the energy you generate from the satellites is transferred to a large scale capacitor on a sort of like a rotating shuttlecraft type thing.
Right.
Would come down, swing down under the planet, move along what's called the Dragon Line, which is basically a giant capacitor generator. Transfer energy from that capacitor into other capacitors, then that would be drained off into where it's needed.
Do you know what would be genuinely cheaper?
Then that would swing back up and
Do you
the
know what would
process.
be easier and cheaper? Fill the desert with fucking solar panels. Like, launching a motherfucking rocket into space. You're talking what, $4-5 million minimum? Building a couple of solar panels. Like, one industrial grade solar panel costs what, about 20 grand?
Industrial. You're talking about a standard solar panel or an actual sodium panel?
Yeah, fuck it, we'll go with a sodium panel that are they're more expensive and a bit more heavy duty.
And actually work more efficiently.
Yeah.
That's why we got the 95% efficiency rate.
Like a good solar panel. Industrial grade, sodium based solar panel. What, 20, 30 fucking grand a pop?
100,000.
Even at 100,000, right? 100,000 a piece. $4 million just to put the fucking thing in space. Never mind the cost of building it, researching it, figuring out all the technology behind it, building all the the now needed fucking dragon conduits and shit.
The problem you've got is we don't have enough.
$4 million.
Hang on, I'm gonna finish. The problem
100 grand.
The problem you've got is there isn't enough sodium on the planet to make enough solar panels to meet our energy needs. And that way, same as if we're going to build the standard 75 to 80% efficient ones we have now, the civilian models. There's not enough materials on the planet to build the amount we need to meet our current energy requirements, let alone future energy
there's enough
requirements.
fossil fuel on the planet to build enough fucking rocket fuel to launch enough rockets into space.
No, there isn't. At best, the best estimates we have, we have approximately our current fossil fuel consumption. We have around about 100 years. Right. Then most of fossil fuels will be exhausted by that point. Especially the oil, natural oil and that type of stuff will be exhausted by that point. Coal, on the other hand, Britain itself has about enough to keep our needs going for about 300 years. And that China has about enough at its current consumption rate for about, I think they've got about 100. America has 50 years.
Okay, two points to make then, right? Point one. Do you know what we have literally infinite of? Fucking sunlight.
Yes, we don't
The
have.
sun doesn't run out.
Yes, we don't have the materials to build.
See, I was about to get to that with point two. Do you know what we have as a near infinite, exhaustless supply of goddamn sodium? The motherfucking ocean. You know, that big blue wet thing full of salt.
Right.
Sodium and salt, to my memory, are the same fucking thing.
That's not sodium chloride.
Yeah, do you know how you fix that? Take the fucking chloride out.
And then you kill everything in the ocean.
Like, yeah, if you take all of the fucking sodium
Which would
chloride
have-
out of the ocean.
In order to make the amount of solar panels you need, right, to give our current use. That's not including all the electrical bullshit we'll have to invent later on for like electric cars and stuff. Just to meet our current energy needs which we have, which is nowhere near enough for a lot of the countries that are trying to develop,
Uh-huh.
you would drain the entire sea of its salt content, thus rendering it lifeless.
Oh no, the fish will die. What a terrible, tragic shame. It's better than the planet being turned into a goddamn oven and killing the fish anyway.
Yes, then we're on oxygen. Because a lot of our oxygen does not come from the rainforests. It comes from ocean-based algae, ocean-based seagrasses, and that type of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Right? You also cut...
Yeah, by the time the sea ran out of salt and shit, though, I feel like we'd have figured out a fucking workaround to that problem. Like, I feel like we'd have more than enough time to plant some extra fucking trees to kind of mitigate the issue.
There's only enough trees in the world to do it. You could count the entire planet in trees and there wouldn't be enough to replace you'd lose from the sea-bearing plants.
Mm-hmm. How do you explain that? The entire period of time during the very earliest formings of the planet where we had trees and shit but no sea-based algae to make fucking oxygen. By your proposal, the ozone layer literally
do
could not
yourself
have
a
formed.
favour and reform that thought in your head. Right?
Mm-hmm.
What came first?
If you're about to say chicken or egg,
No.
I'm genuinely gonna walk.
No. In the if you know about the Jurassic periods and all that stuff.
I'm talking way before the Jurassic and
even way
Triassic
before.
periods.
Way before. Where's life first started?
In the ocean.
Right.
In the oceans and on the grounds.
No, in the ocean. All life
And on
started.
land.
No, all life started in the ocean.
No.
Yes.
No. Plants didn't grow from amoebas.
All life started in the ocean.
No.
Yes.
No.
And amoebas weren't the first life form.
If you're going by the standard of all life as in like animals and shit,
No.
like cows and chickens and fish and shit, yes. Plants and fauna, no.
Yes.
No.
Most,
Okay, explain to me then, right? If that's true, explain to me how we have fauna fucking fossils that predate every other fucking living creature fossil we've ever found. If animals are older than plants,
no, animals aren't
how
older.
do we have fucking records of plants that pre-exist animals?
Because because everyone assumed that the first thing was a fucking amoeba. It
Yes,
wasn't. It was
microscopic little speck that figured out
No.
how to fucking duplicate itself.
the very first technical life form was plankton, which is a plant-based item. Right? Same
It's
as plankton.
really not plant-based.
Plankton. No, there's two versions of plankton. You got plankton, which is a plant-based item. You got plankton, which is an animal-based one.
No, plankton are microbes. They're not plant-based.
They are plant-
They're like fucking water bears. They're microscopic little fucking dots
no,
of carbon and shit.
No, plankton are a plant.
No, they're not.
Yes,
They're
they
a
are.
microbe.
They're a microplant. Yes.
No,
they
they're
are.
a microbe specimen, not a plant. They're a species. They are fucking fauna, not flora.
They're not animal. No,
They're
plant.
fucking animals. They're microbes. But technically, you want to get really extra on it. They're technically a bacteria. On a like really technical basis.
No, you can see plant with the naked eye. So no.
And that's why I'm like on a super technical basis. They're just big fucking bacterias, technically speaking.
No, plankton are a plant.
No, they're an animal.
They're not animal.
They're an animal. They're a microbe. Fuck me, brain. A microorganism. They're not plant-based. You're actually just gonna bring up the fucking. I'm surprised. I genuinely expect that to bring up the fucking SpongeBob character.
There you go. Plankton, a microscopic plant.
Uh-huh.
Right, and you got another category.
Zooplankton, small animals.
Yeah.
Fucking bacterioplankton, bacteria, and viroplankton, viruses. Okay, so
Now,
1 in 4 are plant-based.
I didn't say all of them were. I said the first ones were plant-based.
Yeah,
Right.
see, the problem is you gave me 2, which, and by how you were phrasing, meant half of the plankton. She went, some of them are plant-based, the other ones are animal-based.
Yes, because you got to
Whereas
come to.
what I was saying was, no, they're fucking, you got like microbes and fucking animal ones, they're not fucking plants. While I was still wrong, I was closer to correct. Because 3 out of 4 is a better statistic than 1 out of fucking 4. 3/4 correct is more correct than half correct. No, 1/4 correct, sorry.
I never denied
I
animal
literally
one was
ripped
this.
the fucking concept
You
of
just denying the
math
fact
there,
that plant
Jesus.
ones bases existed.
Yeah.
Because you assumed all of them were animal.
I did make that assumption, yes, but I was still 3/4 correct. You were 1/4.
No, because I didn't deny the ones existed. I
Still.
didn't.
Because you said, and I quote, some of them are plant, some of them are animal. I said no, some of them are animals, some of them are fucking bacterias and shit.
No, what you said was the bacterial-based animal.
I'm still way fucking... Like, I at least included more fucking... Like, more correct
But anyway, the
groups
point
than you
was,
did.
the basic form of life was started from the single cell into a plankton base which washed across the land, stuck to the surface of the land when the weather started changing, right? And those form the basis of the plants of the land.
Then again, how do we have flora records, sorry, of fucking, like, ancient prehistoric plants that existed? How do we have fossils of those that are older than the oldest found fossil of a plankton? Riddle me that one.
We don't.
We genuinely do.
We generally don't.
We really do. The oldest found plankton fucking specimen and or fossil dates back to, if I remember, I think it's 4.2 million years, whereas the oldest plant we've ever found is 6.8 million.
Also,
So
fossil
if plankton came before plants, how did that occur?
because the fossil record is not a complete record of everything that's ever existed.
Correct, but it's
Because
usually pretty fucking
It's
spot
not,
on.
because not everything that's ever existed ever gets fossilized. Hence, oil exists.
Correct, but you can usually, you go down to dirt layers, you find fossils. You can, normally if you went back to a dirt layer that dated back say 8 million years, where we found the oldest plants and no fossils of animals from that time period. If animals were there, you'd find at least one cutting about there, because at that point in time, fossilization was happening because we have a fucking fossilized plant. So we know the fossils could happen back then. Yeah, the only fossils we have from that time period are plants. No animals. It's not until much later down the line into the fucking dirt layers where you start finding fossils that are animals and planktons and fish and shit. So if the planktons came first, how do we have fossils in dirt layers that are older than those plankton with no fossils whatsoever that are animal based, only fucking plant based?
Because
If there were animals there and before there.
because the way you're looking for the fossil layers you're on about there, we haven't mined yet because of the bottom of the fucking ocean.
We have mined them.
We have not.
mine them regularly.
We haven't got down far enough to mine the fossil layer under the ocean.
Tell that to BP.
I would tell that baby because, to be honest, anything else because BP hasn't gone that far down either.
They really have.
They really haven't.
Given most of the North Sea oil that we currently
It's not that
mine,
deep.
we have to dig down to the fucking, like, the Triassic aquatic period fucking dirt layers. Given we can get right down to Triassic fucking water layers.
Yes. We have yet to gone to any layer at the formation of our planet yet.
Correct, not at the formation of our planet, no.
Or any period of that.
Like the furthest we're able to dig down, to my memory, for fossil records is around the 5 million year mark, and we didn't find any fossils at that stage.
Yes.
Of either flora nor fauna.
Yes, but the idea from how life evolved evolved about 1 billion years back.
Correct.
So there's still that 5-year gap we don't have.
But again, the problem being is with the current idea of how the planet formed, land shouldn't even have existed to begin with around that 4 to 5 million year mark for there to be plant fossils in the first place.
No.
Yet somehow, we've found plant fossils when those fossils should not fucking exist on what at that period would have been dry land and completely uninhabitable.
What, 4 or 5
By our
million?
current theory of how the planet formed and how life began to exist on land.
You want 4,
Yet
if you're about 4 or 5
somehow
million
they're
years, about 4 or 5 million years ago, that's Cretaceous period. It was lush
No, the
rainforest from there.
Cretaceous is only 3.8 million at the earliest.
No.
Yeah, the Cretaceous was about 3.8 million. Is it your 3.8 or 3.9? I usually round it to 3.8. If you're looking for Cretaceous, it's C-U-R-U.
See you.
C-R-U-S. There you go, crustacean.
C-R-U-S.
T-A-C-A-E-E-A-N, sorry.
No, that's Crustacean.
Yeah.
We're for Cretaceous.
Oh, fuck, so that's A-C-I-O-U-S. See, but even then, if you put in crustacean period, it would have known what the fuck you wanted. Why did you...
145 to 66 million years ago.
Okay, I was way the fuck off then. So even my memory of those fossil records must be fucking off.
Yeah, because
But even then, my point still stands of we have fossils of plants from a point in time where there shouldn't have been fucking land for the plants to grow on. Yet, those fossils are there. So if the fucking plankton came before the fossils, the plants, sorry, those fossils of plants shouldn't fucking exist. Yet we have them.
What was plant fossil? Let's have a look. The oldest plant fossil known is 60 billion years, and it's found in India. It's a fossil of a red algae, a type of seaweed that was discovered in sedimentary rock.
Okay, first off, that's cheating. That's in a sedimentary rock. Second off, my point still fucking stands. Because, and hear me out when I say 1.6 billion years old
Yes.
is more than 600 million.
Uh-huh.
So my point still fucking stands of, like, clearly our fucking timeline of, like, evolution of shit
Yes, the timeline
is bang on wrong.
But the point is, most oxygenation of the plant was done from seed-based plant life.
I sincerely disagree. Like, today's oxygen, yeah, no, I can fully believe you. I genuinely doubt that we had anywhere near enough fucking plant-based algae to form the ozone layer. Given today where we have more plant-based algae than we did back then, and we have fucking trees to come in with the tag team assist, and we're still struggling to not have the ozone layer just fall the fuck apart, mainly because we keep putting rockets through the fucker.
The ozone layer has nothing to do with the oxygen content of the planet.
Yeah, it does.
It doesn't.
It really does. If
Oh.
if the ozone, because this is literally how the ozone layer works, Fat Man T. If the ozone layer wasn't there, the oxygen would fuck off into space.
No,
There'd be nothing there to keep the oxygen in.
no, if the ozone layer wasn't there, we could by UV radiation.
Yes, and again, the oxygen would fuck off.
No.
Because there's not, for lack of a better term, a ceiling to keep the oxygen in.
No.
Like when, if there was a windstorm to blow by on the planet, like a hurricane, it would literally fuck all of the oxygen off the planet.
No.
If there wasn't an ozone layer, yes.
No, because gravity
Yes.
exists.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
I'm
It's literally how the ozone layer works.
It's
That's why
not.
Mars is uninhabitable, because it doesn't have a fucking ozone layer. That's why it can't support life or oxygen.
No, it's literally not how it works.
It's genuinely how the ozone layer works.
genuinely is not.
Motherfucker, Google it. I'm not doing the yes, no. Let's Google how the fucking ozone layer works. I'm so not doing the yes, no fucking argument right now, dude. Like, I've not slept in 12 fucking hours.
Ozone layer protects the Earth from absorbing half of UV radiation. Shall I keep going?
Alright, you know what? Fuck it. Just Google, does the ozone layer keep oxygen attached to the fucking planet? Right? Like, just Google the argument. Fucking, it's... I don't fucking care anymore. I genuinely give up.
Nope, not. The ozone layer does not directly keep oxygen levels in.
It absolutely fucking does.
I've Googled it.
You know what? I don't care anymore. I'm right, the rest... Everyone else is literally wrong. I don't care anymore. Fuck it. I'm making a coffee before I fucking just have a stroke. Move, dog. You're in the goddamn way. Why must you always be in the way? I did the fucking button, yeah. What? Why are you following me? Do you want to pee? Do you want to pee? Come on, come pee. Ah, right. Go. Pee. No? No. Well, I'll leave it for a minute anyway, but you should go fucking pee if you choose.
Oh, fuck about a second.
Oh, no, without. Empty. George's legs. Oh, we go inside.
Yeah, right.
Ah, my fucking hips cramping. You're looking at me like you've never had a hip cramp before.
No, I have. I just wonder why it's caused it. I assume it's probably how you like.
Sorry, just I was going into the kitchen, like fucking, we've got a fucking tensity started building up, and now just fucking being a wee prick.
Maybe it's because when you sit and dry, when you're weaving.
Probably, yeah.
Cause I used to get it when I was to sit down and do like delicate work on like weird shit.
Nah, it'll sort itself out in a bit.
Yeah.
To be fair, the fact that I'm sat on an uneven fucking cushion probably is not helping.
Probably
that
not, because that's one of the worst things for us, on uneven surfaces.
That'll help. Minor adjustment to the pillow. Oh.
So yeah, I've got the video ready to go. It's from What Culture, 10 hilarious and stupid conspiracy theories people actually believe.
Now, shout out to What Culture, and before fuck it.
Before I begin,
so before we begin, a quick shout out to What Culture, because I've been a big fan of What Culture for several years now. They're fucking, I think probably one of the first YouTube channels I ever subscribed to on YouTube back in the day.
I've never watched one of their stuff yet.
Oh, I love them because they've got, I think they're up to 4 YouTube channels now.
I might have come across some of the stuff by like accidentally being like doom scrolling.
Probably they do like most like the top 10 videos. It's like you got like What Culture, like main, like what we're on now, that does kind of this, that, and everything. You've got, I think it's Who Culture that does Doctor Who, like fact videos. You've got, I think it's just called What Culture Wrestling now. Is there like professional wrestling based YouTube channel? That was pretty much my entire time in high school was watching that. Back when I was a massive wrestling nerd. And then you've got, I think the other one's Trek Culture.
Hang on, let's remind me something about. Right, there's something I heard on a similar podcast. Mm-hmm. I won't tell you because I don't know if it's true or not.
Okay, is it a wrestling thing?
Yes.
Okay, I probably know the answer then.
Is WWE owned by Disney?
Technically, but technically not, no.
Because the thing I heard was apparently Disney, when they're filming some of the WWE stuff, right, Disney refused to sell tickets to wrestling fans because they weren't the crowd that Disney wanted to portray on the videos.
Okay, so this is the thing, is like so their theory is, they're technically correct, but they're technically wrong at the same time. So the way it works is that the show that they're talking about, that a lot of people try and use as evidence of Disney owns WWE, was a show that was held in, if I remember rightly, it was 2004, if I remember rightly. It was one of their pay-per-views. I don't remember which pay-per-view, but it was it either was filmed or it was originally proposed to be filmed in a soundstage that's like either is or used to be in, I think it's Disneyland Orlando, if I remember rightly. Better known as Disneyland Florida.
I do with MGE Studios.
MGM Studios.
Yes. It was related to them.
Yeah, like one of the MGM Studios either is or used to be in the park of Disneyland, Florida, in Orlando. So if there's 2 versions of the story I've heard, I don't know which is true. Cause like the 2000 through 2005 is like my kind of shit period for like knowing wrestling knowledge. But if I remember it correctly, it's either they helped the show, filmed the show there, but had to basically like pre-tape it. I think it was like it's one of the first pay-per-views in WWE history that was pre-taped rather than live broadcasted.
Yeah.
Because Disney refused to sell tickets to a live audience, so the live audience was. Instead, they basically didn't advertise when they did the pay-per-view. They didn't advertise the record date. They just advertised the airing date. So all of the live audience that were there were Disneyland Park employees and Disneyland Park like VIP visitors. Mm-hmm. That's one of the stories that's told. The other story is because Disney wasn't willing to sell tickets to a wrestling show on their venue, The WWE then pulled out of the deal and filmed the pay-per-view elsewhere. That's the two stories that get like floated around. I don't know which is true for that event.
I think so. I didn't know it myself.
When it comes to WWE and Disney, like the relationship they have, and like whether Disney owns WWE, the reason why that is technically true, that's actually accurate, is because of a fairly like modern change to WWE Corporation that happened a few years ago, where they ended up forming I think it's called like a business coalition or some shit.
All right.
Where it's WWE, UFC, and another company I don't remember the name of. Have basically like teamed up to form one like parent company called TKO. And TKO, as a parent company, has a parent company, which has a parent company, which has a parent company, and that like fucking great grandparent company is owned by Disney. So on a technicality of if you follow parent companies down far enough, yes, Disney technically owns WWE by proxy on a technicality, but they don't own it close enough to have any real say on anything within WWE. In fact, they don't even own it close enough to like get any of the real profit share back from it. So technically, in theory, yes, but in practice, no, not really.
So basically, the profit share is so diluted, it makes no difference.
Huh?
The profit share is so diluted, it makes a goddamn bit of difference whether you want to.
Exactly, and again, like because of like US business owner laws, like they're so far removed from like ownership, like due to like parent company and the parent company and the parent company and the parent company, that they literally have no fucking say over it in the first place.
Right, we'll play the video and move for a quick pee.
Okay. So while Fat Man T goes for a quick pee, I'm gonna swap chairs here in the studio so that I'm closer to the control board. Ugh. Oh, my bones. Sorry, I'm getting very old, ladies and gentlemen. I'm also getting a little like hoarse in the throat because I did a bit of a sing-song earlier on. I was sat playing Guitar Hero with the boys on the Discord, and we had a bit of a sing-along with our Guitar Hero. So my voice is a little more tired than it normally would be by this point in the show, because I've spent like a good 2 hours earlier today abusing my vocal cords. So, let's ring a ding ding getting into this, shall we? Yes.
What culture?
I love people.
Real quick, once again, shout out to What Culture, just to be on the safe side here.
I think people are great, and without people, none of us would be here. Because we're all people. It's these little nuggets of information some of us are so quick to forget about. With that said, some of these aforementioned people are, well, stupid. I don't say that in an insulting way, but if you're out there and think that the moon isn't real, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, all you have to do is look up at night, and there it is. There's no trickery going on here. Sometimes this all needs to be outed though. So, I'm Simon from What Culture, and this is 10 hilariously stupid conspiracy theories that people actually believe.
There we go, right, we'll pause that there. As it gets into the first conspiracy, well, me and Fat Man T swap chairs again.
Oh yeah. Well, fuck.
That wasn't a healthy noise.
Right. What's the first one then?
The moon isn't real, apparently.
I've heard this one a few times.
So have I.
Pretend the moon isn't real. That's right. I didn't mention it in the intro just to be quaint. This is a real conspiracy theory that many human
The moon
beings
landing wasn't
subscribe
real.
to.
You're
They do
still
believe
on that.
the moon
Nah,
isn't
mate,
real.
it's the
As the
sun,
theory
innit?
goes,
The sun
the moon
landing.
is just a giant
hiding
hologram
them.
because it's masking something that's behind said moon. Subscribers to this nonsense don't know much more than that, but it does all come down to being powered by a massive electrical system. Now, I don't know about you, but there's already a lot of holes I can pick in this. This is barely a story. It's just crazy talk, and most of the explanations end in shouting and ranting.
So my favourite one with the moon's not real is the Doctor Who theory that it's a giant egg.
Which, no.
I don't like. The Flat Earth theory that it was it's a glass carved out by giants at the Grand Canyon and thrown up there to mock humans for worshipping the sun by giants. That's one of my favourite ones, that one. Because it was filled with hydrogen as well, apparently. That made it float. It's a balloon. It's projection. It's an alien spaceship. and that.
I mean, to be fair, right? You know,
I'm gonna get another one. It's a Nazi installation they built, and that to where the Third Reich still exists to this day with Hitler and Ice Cube.
Ice Cube?
Yeah, the Frozen.
The rapper.
No, he's in Ice Cube. He's basically the froze.
Oh right, as in like Hitler is in an Ice Cube.
Yeah,
right.
the froze Hitler and took him up there along with Walt Disney.
For a minute, I thought you meant like Adolf Hitler, and for some reason also just the rapper Ice Cube are on the moon for some reason. I was very confused.
No, the number of the Hitler one is although the hide Hitler by basically turning black through a chemical process. The increased melanin system turning black, so he could hide and walk out with the American soldiers.
I don't think that's how melanin works, but
That's one of my favourite ones. Hitler.
So you mentioned the Giants theory, right?
Yeah.
And I wanna have a bit of a whinge
Okay.
about conspiracy theorists. And I may grow to regret this a little bit because it may become more relevant later on in this video, but I'm gonna do it now anyway because it's been bugging me for a few days now, right? I both love and hate the conspiracy theorists. The theories are like that revolve around giants and
Right.
require giants to have existed for their theories to work. Because I love those theories a little bit because, like, you know, giants do fucking exist. There's an entire medical condition called fucking gigantism.
Yes.
But also, like, giants don't exist in the sense of being, you know, fucking 95 feet tall and able to put shit in the sky.
Yes.
And it annoys the shit out of me. Because like, there's so many, like, really cool, like, historical events that you can look at where, like giants are, like, referenced. And if you work using the assumptive knowledge of, like you like how, like, the average, like, global, like, the population's, like, average height has increased over the years, right?
Yes, by quite some dramatic amount.
Like, one can assume because of that, like, the average height of someone with gigantism will have also increased.
Yes.
Right? So, like one can assume, like, using, like, that assumption and also the modern day knowledge of what gigantism is, and, like, its existence is like a little medical quirk that can happen. And, like, look at, like, a bunch of, like, these historical events, specifically battles, where, like, there's, like, references of, like, oh, there were giants on the field and shit, that make those battles way fucking cooler with the idea of, it wasn't, like, this fantasy bullshit giant, it was just a fucking really tall dude who was medically a giant. Who was, like, maybe 2 foot taller than every cunt else.
What best one I can think of, like, context-wise, is the Asgardian war against the Ice Giants. Right, now the average height of a Viking at the time...
I think it was, like, 6'1".
No, the average height of a Viking was only 5'3".
No, you're right, it was... Yeah, sorry, I'm thinking of fucking, like, the Anglo invasion.
Yeah, the Anglo invasion.
The 6'1" mark.
And there was some of the bigger versions of the Berserkers. Right, so in order to be a giant back then, all you'd be doing is, like, 6'5".
Yeah. I mean, fuck, even, like, 5'11" would have done you.
Yeah. But like, we still the idea of, like, giants twice the size of man. You know, yourself, someone's about 6'4". You're staring at his nipples at that point. You know what I mean? Go to 6'6", you know, you're pretty much at his belly button.
Yeah, because, like, I went to a school with a guy. I went to, like, primary and high school with this guy called Jamie.
Yeah.
And Jamie was medically a giant. He had gigantism, right? And I will forever remember Jamie because of, like, something that, like, started happening when we got into high school, right? This started happening when we were second year of high school, so we would have been maybe 14-ish years old, right? And, like, when we got on the school bus, right? It's like, you get on a bus, right? You stand at the bus stop.
Yeah.
The bus turns up. The doors open. You step on the bus. You fucking
go to your seat.
You know, pay the man, boop the card, whatever the fuck. You go sit down, right? This motherfucker stand at the bus stop. The bus would pull up, right? It's how he had to get on a bus, right? He would put his leg on the bus. He would bend his torso 45 degrees.
Yeah.
Lift the next leg up, and the back of his head would still be scraping the goddamn ceiling of the bus. He would then have to, because, you know, he was at 45 degrees, while his ass was still basically hanging out of the bus, have to go into his pocket, get his wallet out, and then basically blind pay show his pass at the driver, put his shit away, rotate, shimmy, and then walk up the gang lane of the bus. Until about the halfway mark, at which point he would have to start bending his knees. Because the floor rose up and the ceiling didn't.
Yeah.
So he would have to literally start bending his knees the further back into the bus he got. Because there were many an occasion where most of his friends would be sat at the very back of the bus, like assholes, because they knew he'd struggle.
And
So they could enjoy watching him have to, essentially by the end of it, soldier crawl his way to a chair in the back of the bus.
Now, see, I can make a point for this one. In the town of Newbiggin.
Like before you get on, do you know how tall Jamie fucking pulled in at the last time I saw him? Right? Last time I saw Jamie, we were 16 years old. Right? I was about 5'8". Jamie, bang on 7 foot tall.
Yeah. So basically, you could get to the doorways.
It got to the point in high school, right, where if he was leaving a room, because the only rooms he could stand up fully in,
Yeah.
right, were the chemistry labs, the hallways, the dining room, and the theater. Actually, we had a big meeting room / theater room, the kind of room I mean, wooden floor, big fucking ceilings. Oh, and the gym as well. Sorry, you could stand up in the gyms.
You
Right?
couldn't use any of the gear in there.
And any other classroom, if he was walking to a classroom, he'd have to bend his knees to get through the door, and basically have to walk through the class bent kneed. Yeah, you the walks they do in Monty Python, with the skit with the Ministry of Silly Walks. Half the time he was walking like one of those motherfuckers to do classes. Cause he was that tall. He was if he sneezed wrong, he was headbutting a fucking ceiling tile. It was ridiculous.
Well, the good thing though, how the ceiling in the room we're in now
Yeah,
is only 8 foot high.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
This ceiling in the room we're in right now, here in the studio, that's the ceiling height of our chemistry labs.
Right now,
That's how high the chemistry
now, given
labs
we're both
were
5'10",
in my school.
5'11", which is above average height for even the modern day human. Right, and when we sound saying there's a good massive gap. So you can imagine someone, 6'7", 7 foot.
Yeah.
Even for us, we were looking at his fucking tits. Can you imagine the average British man back then, in the Middle Ages, was 4'8" to 5 foot was the average height back then. So you can imagine a 6 foot guy walking over hello, small human.
Yeah, exactly.
But-
they'd shit themselves, but
The one thing I can say is a calf you scored when I was a kid with my mum and dad was called the Victorian calf, and it was built back in the Victorian period. Right? And it was height accurate to people at the time.
yeah.
Right? My mum and dad could walk in, no problem. I walked in on my fucking knees.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't, I would be headbutting a goddamn beam. And then what the bastards did as well is for decoration. They had oars and shit hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
So I'm there on my knees going through what the fuck? Trying around getting this fucking seat to have my dinner.
See, when I had my really awkward fucking archaeological interest phase as a teenager, there was a lot of really cool archaeological sites sort of around where I lived at the time.
Yeah.
That's up in Valleyfield. There's a bunch of old ruins and shit from the Victorian period going all the way back to the medieval periods. And I always found it really fun going to those ruins that you're absolutely not meant to be anywhere the fuck
Yeah.
near. Not because they're archaeological sites, but because they're ruins, so dangerous as fuck. And it was always fun to me going to a Victorian one, and I was slightly too small for the doors, and I going back further and further and seeing the doors getting progressively smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
To the point where there's one ruin near Valleyfield. There's the ruins of an old cathedral, an old not cathedral, sorry, a chapel, rather
Yeah.
like a brick chapel.
Yeah, give us about medieval period era-ish. Give us about medieval period.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was a 13th century chapel.
I'll be on your fucking knees by that point then.
Oh yeah, this. Cause here's how you have to get into this fucking ruin today, right? You walk down a main road with no pavement.
Yeah.
Right. And there is a crack in the basically the border wall to stop cars fucking off into the forest, right? This said crack in the wall is about the width of this table. Right? It's about here, right? So you have to rotate and shimmy your way through the crack in the wall, at which point you are now in the forest. 3 feet directly in front of you is basically what you'd call the door wall, so to speak. The front wall, that's the
Yeah.
one I was after. The front wall of what used to be this church. With a door I fuck you not, the height of this table in front
Yes.
of us, which is what? Two foot?
3 foot.
But yeah, about 3 foot tall, right? To get in, right, at least for me, right, I basically walk up to the door, drop onto my knees, and then drop onto my elbows, and crawl through. At which point you can then stand up, because the ceiling has rotted away, and you can look directly up, and still see support beams from where the roof used to be, that are just lumber, that are fully exposed, by the way, just to the elements, because health and safety doesn't mean shit. If you look to your right, you will see about 1/25 of a wall remaining, by which I mean a pile of bricks that are about knee height,
Yeah.
if that. If you look to your left, you will see a damn near perfect condition wall that goes right up to where the roof would have been, not just the ceiling. And then what would have been the back wall is gone, completely gone. There is nothing left of that wall except the very top row of fucking brick holding the support beams in place.
Yeah.
Through some black magic wizardry, evidently. But in that, like, the wall that's, like, near perfectly preserved to your left, there is another door. Even smaller than the goddamn front door. In height, it's about half the height of the front door. And if you crawl through that, you are in what I would describe as a cupboard of a room.
The vestry, probably. Probably the vestry.
It's about 4 foot by 3 foot in size.
Yeah, the vestry.
And its total height, because I once took a tape measure in there out of sheer goddamn curiosity, 5 feet.
Yeah.
I literally cannot stand up in said room, and it is the only part of those ruins that still has its ceiling and roof intact.
Yeah, because people assume that, because of where movies are, that they assume that the height of back when people was about the same height as we are now.
Yeah, no, it's nowhere near.
No. Like, a tall man would be 5 foot.
Yeah.
You know? The average height was like 4 foot and 5 foot. You know, an extreme tall man was like 5'2". You know?
See, but at the same time, I really like the way like movies kind of do that of like making you think like, oh, heights
Yeah.
like about the same as it is now, because in fairness, like especially with like it's like a medieval movie. Like half of the point of like those kind of movies is to essentially be able to experience the story happening as if you were actually there
Yes.
to an extent. And if you were actually there, you wouldn't have the kind of like knowledge we have today of like how tall we are to like know people are short.
Yeah.
People would look average size. And like, in fairness, they like, you know, as we have a lot of evidence for, built buildings around similar kind of proportional sizes to how we do today for our body types.
I mean, the best way you can describe it, like, in like, across the modern history you can think of, is 18th century Napoleon.
Yes.
Napoleon Wars. Right?
By today's standards and due to a lot of propaganda, he's considered a dwarf. But for the time period, he was about average.
No, he was 6 foot.
Like, what? No, I remember him being like maybe 5'5".
No, he was 6 foot.
Was he?
Wellington was 5'2".
I remember Wellington being like 5'3".
No, he was 5'2", Wellington.
Huh.
The propaganda where it was like he was such a small man was just basically propaganda to humiliate him. But no, he was 6 foot tall. So he's a very tall man for his time, like Henry VIII.
Yeah.
Right? He was 6'2",
He was, yes.
which gave him the idea of the Bear King.
Yes, so there was also, I will forever argue, the more famous tall king, Edward Longshanks, who was, if I remember rightly, Edward II.
Yeah, he was
the King of England that was the king during both of the Scottish Wars for Independence.
Yes.
The original one with William Wallace and then the later subsequent one with Robert of Bruce.
Yeah, the Giant King.
No, sorry, Robert the Bruce, not Robert of Bruce. They're different cunts. I always fuck that up.
The Giant King of England.
Yes, Edward Longshanks.
I suppose he was so tall he could use a claymore as a one-handed sword.
Yes.
There was rumours about him.
Because the way a lot of like British historians will like try and put into perspective how big like Edward Longshanks was like for the time period is like, well, like, there's the obvious way of like, well, he was called, literally nicknamed Longshanks, which is Scottish for the long-legged.
Yeah.
Which is, if you translate that even more into English, translates to really fucking tall bastard who has all of his height in his legs.
Yes.
You know, but basically it's the Scottish way of saying leggy bastard, right?
He couldn't ride a horse, I remember correctly, the story say.
Basically, he was like 92% leg.
He couldn't sit right side of a horse because his legs just dragged the ground, so that
Yeah.
So they built him a special cart.
They did,
Which
yes.
would carry the king around instead of the king riding proud on a horse. Everyone driven the fucking cart to the battlefield.
But the like, I argue a more accurate way to kind of put into perspective the sheer fucking size of Edward Longshanks, right, is, like, based on, and granted it's limited evidence, but based on what little evidence we do have of William Wallace historically,
Yes.
of like who he actually was, is it's currently believed William Wallace would have been roughly guesstimated, because we've never found his fucking remains, about between 6'5" and 6'7", which for the time period made him a fucking giant. And the way they did this math, right, is genuinely true, is they took essentially the different swords that are purported to be owned by William Wallace,
Yes.
cut that list way the fuck down by basically cross-referencing them with like the list of weapons we have a record of William Wallace definitely using or owning during different battles during his life, and eliminating any that we didn't have those records for, taking their sizes like into account, and then doing the math for how big a person would have to be to wield those weapons in the way it's recorded he did.
Yes.
The most famous one being his very famous claymore that he used in like a lot of the battles during the War of Independence, that he is recorded as having wielded one-handed. For him to wield that very famous claymore one-handed, he would have had to have been at minimum 6'5".
Remember the claim on about there is the one that's 6 foot long.
No, it's because that's the one that's more famous, but we can't prove William Wallace ever owned or used it. The one that's about as famous, but we can prove he owned or used, is, if I remember it correctly, I think it's 4'9" in length.
Yeah, it's already quite big sword, but even then, a claymore that size, even one, they're not. A lot of people miss around. Claymores aren't that heavy of a sword.
Correct, they're not very heavy, but
They're long, but not very heavy.
it's the main problem with claymores is because of their length, they're very unwieldy to use.
Yes.
They're like very hard to control, whereas
We-
again, because it's like a considerably shorter claymore than most, so like claymores from that time period, it's like technically an average height man could use it one-handed, but it would be very unwieldy, whereas to use it one-handed with the level of like skill as purported William Wallace was able to wield it with, he would have had to have been at minimum 6'4".
See, the very problem is, given the average height of average Scotsman back then was about 4'9", I think. Given the time.
No, during the Wars of Independence, we were slightly taller than the English population,
The
so
English
we would
population
have
was
been
5 foot.
about 5'4", 5'5".
I think the population back then was around, I think 4'9".
Yeah, we were slightly taller.
about 5
so we
foot,
would have been
give
like 5'1"-ish.
Yeah, so
Would have
even
been
then,
our about average point.
yeah, so even then it's. I don't see him. I can see him being 5'5", 5'6".
Yeah, no, we like it's.
I can't.
Because again, he was always reported as being a fucking giant, even by like giant standards, fucking giant of a guy. And like again, based on the size of his claymore, like the math works out to he would have had to have been about 6'4" minimum to like wield it the way he's described as having wielded it. Like with the claymore, we can prove he absolutely owned and used. Cause like with the very famous claymore that's like 6 foot fucking something long that's on display in,
Yes,
I think
like
it's
a
in
2
St.
foot.
Andrews. It's on display.
6 foot long with like a 2 foot wide blade.
Yeah, the only evidence we have to suggest that William Wallace owned that claymore comes from a story from one of William Wallace's battles. I can never remember which fucking battle it is, where he defeated like an English army in battle, basically to celebrate the battle and spread fear into the hearts of the English enemy. He skinned the enemy general, like the body, and basically dried the general's skin out into a leather to make a hand wrap.
Yes.
For the sword. It's very strongly believed that like that story is like kind of true, but like very propagandized and bullshitty. Of like, it probably isn't the skin of like an English general or anything like that, but he probably did do it around the time of that battle as like a celebration for winning said battle.
Human leather was not uncommonly used to make sword handles back then.
Yeah, because like the only like evidence we have to support that William Wallace owned this claymore is it's the only claymore we've found so far from that time period that would have been about the right size for William Wallace to use, that had a human skin handle wrap.
What's fun fact a lot of people don't realise is a lot of books, like Bibles, are human leather made of saints.
Yes.
Which, because everyone says, oh, a leather-bound book is a devil's book. It's like, no, the Bible's...
Yes, a lot of them are like bound in human leather, but it was fairly uncommon for swords, at least claymores, to be wrapped with human
Yeah, it's
skin.
usually boar leather. I think was generally used. Boar leather.
No, one more time.
Boar.
Boar. Yeah, sometimes it was honestly it was a lot more common for it to be things like bull or even horse leather was a lot more common for the time. Because it was. Because this is a really interesting fact about Celts. A lot of people don't know that still to some extent honoured today in Scotland in some places. It was a long-standing tradition for a very long time in Scotland that if you say like you owned a war horse, right, like you rode into battle and that horse died, the way you would commemorate your war horse after its death is you would have part of its skin removed from its body before burial, and have it dried out into like a leather and have that used to like wrap either the handle of your sword or to make a new strap for your shield.
Yes.
To either like basically to honour the memory of like said horse, but also to imbue the spirit of the animal into the piece of equipment. So as if you like did it to wrap the handle, the spirit of the horse would guide your strike, so you could strike with more like ferocity and speed. Whereas if it was the wrap for your the handle for your shield, it basically meant you would have like the strength of a horse behind your blocks, so you'd be harder to kill. Obviously that's bullshit, but like that was the kind of the belief at the time period around that tradition with like the using the horse leather.
Right, go on. Right, so one of the moon's fake.
Yes.
Which isn't a huge surprise when you think about it. Number 9. Dinosaurs helped build the pyramids.
Fucking
what on
what?
earth does
Yeah.
that even mean? Have you seen...
Yeah.
Dinosaurs
Yes.
built the.
Basically, dinosaurs were the ancient workhorses that used to build the Great Pyramids of Giza.
So the ancient Egyptians,
T-Rex.
long after dinosaurs went extinct, tamed dinosaurs.
Yes.
And used them as working animals.
Yes. They were chasing like the Triceratops and the Aplodon.
Both of which had been extinct for, and I'm guesstimating here, about 1 million years by that point.
About 20. About 20
Million or 1,000?
million.
Yeah. So the Egyptians built a time travel machine, kidnapped a couple of T-Rexes. I'm genuinely getting a headache just thinking about this. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I'm not even fucking, I'm actually gaining a headache just trying to talk about this. Holy fuck.
Try to get your head around the concept of that idea.
Like, the mental gymnastics that have to be fucking performed to make that make any sense physically hurts.
Yeah, because a lot of Americans still believe the dinosaurs existed right until about 2,000 years. It's okay, they can't hurt you. Not yet.
Why does a nation with such a low IQ have so much money and power? Why do we let them do that?
I don't know.
Why did we let them get to where they got to?
Because the French were interested at the time during the war.
Still, why didn't we kick the shit out of the French, turn around and go just wipe out the Americans? Like, what the fuck were we doing?
No idea.
Ah, Jesus fucking Christ.
In Jurassic Park, ain't no dinosaur helping with nothing. They roam, they snort, they sneer, and they kill. Apart from the ones that just like to eat vegetables. But yes, there is a school in Malta, and its director is convinced that not only did dinosaurs exist at the same time as humans, but also rocked up to Egypt one day to help out with the building of the pyramids. He even claims some religious texts make this very clear. I don't know what he has been reading, but I have a feeling he snuck some
Yeah,
extra
because I don't
pages in
remember the
there,
bit where a
because
fucking
nowhere on
velociraptor
earth
rocked up
does it say that.
to the birth of
and for
Jesus
good reason.
Christ.
Number 8. The US government dumped fake snow on Georgia. It doesn't snow much in Georgia. That's just one of those things. Much like if you live in England, it's probably going to rain a lot. It doesn't mean that when there is no water falling from the sky, you come up with some confangled theory about gibberish. Because people can be strange though, after this mythical snow did fall on Georgia, one resident tried to burn it with a lighter.
Oh,
Instead of
this
turning into
dipshit,
water,
yeah.
it blackened and filled said individual's nose with the smell of plastic. Of course, this sparked everyone off, with similar attempts happening all over the place, with the conclusion being the snow was both fake and dangerous. Therefore, the US government must have been...
Right, for the most people still believe this bullshit, let me tell you something. The blackness is carbon from your fucking lighter.
Yeah. Like, you can do it to your own hand.
Yeah,
And it's perfectly safe.
Yeah, and the still burning plastic is probably lighter melting as you're trying to use it to fucking melt snow with.
Yeah.
As it overheats. Because contrary to popular belief, modern lighters are meant to be used for long periods of time.
Correct.
First of all, those are a long period of time, but something like this. A solid brass trench lighter.
Or like a Zippo.
Yeah, those can be burned for like a good 30-40 minutes to an hour, depending on how big the fucking thing is.
Yeah. Without it really doing any, like, significant damage to the outer casing or internal workings of your Zippo.
Yes, plastic ones, no! They explode quite frequently.
Yeah.
Dumbasses.
Involved. So we'll just forget the fact that the blackening is soot, the fact snow turns into slush first, and the fact that the plastic smell was the fumes from the lighter. Yeah.
There we go.
Let's-
See?
Ta-da. See, and Simon Miller doesn't even smoke.
Number
and we
7.
fucking got
Yoga
there.
is a form of satanic worship. I mean, that downward dog is pretty much a form of torture, but I think jumping to this conclusion
pause,
is taking
pause, wait
it
a
step
minute.
Yeah, I've heard this one before, yeah.
Run that fucking back a minute. Hang on, I missed the title there. What?
Stretching is a form of satanic worship. This goes back to the theory that yoga itself, or yoga like Pilates, that type of stuff that uses like a lot of stretching motions, is a form of ritualized satanic dance designed to summon the devil, which is believed because linked to the fact that like witches dance around fires and stuff to call entities towards them, that type of stuff. And then they say stretching is a similar practice.
Okay, free problem. Free problems. Problem 1, that wasn't why witches danced around fires. It wasn't to summon fucking ghosts and demons and shit. Problem 2, don't do yoga around a fire.
Yes.
In fact, you're actively discouraged from doing that because there's a good chance you'll fall face first into fire. Problem 3, if that were true, given how popular things like yoga and Pilates are,
Yeah.
you know, I feel like someone somewhere would have noticed if all of a sudden Satan popped out of a yoga studio
Yeah.
in the middle of downtown fucking San Francisco. I feel like we would have spotted that by now.
Well, to be
We would
fair-
have noticed.
To be fair, the rise of Karens and the fact they all most of them go to yoga studios, I think kind of correlates that one.
No, they're just fucking dipshits.
You
You
know,
know,
like, also
by,
like yoga.
by that very same logic, clearly soy tea is the work of the devil because fucking
It is,
like
yes.
all the hipster fuckwits that fucking drink soy tea are also stupid. Therefore, it's evidently obvious that soy directly destroys brain cells.
Yes.
Like that's the same flavour of logic we're applying here.
My best one is like yoga is an Indian invention. And that.
Yeah, you're right, it is, yeah. I was about to argue and go, no, the fuck it's not. Yeah, no, it is, yeah.
Not the American
For a
Indians.
brief
the-
minute, I was like, yeah, it's Tibetan, isn't it? Like, no, yeah, it's
Yes.
India, yeah.
Yeah, it's India. It was used as a form of like, again, it was like an exercise routine. And that was designed to help strengthen muscles and joints for the Rajput, I believe.
Yeah.
Were the ones who first coined it. Then it became like a noble pursuit, and then became doctrine. I think back, like I think 1200 BC. It was doctrinized like the entire country had to do in order to build a unified strength and that.
Yeah, to be honest, I might pick yoga back up again, like later this year. Like I used to do a lot of yoga like when I was a kid. You know, fucking might pick it back up just as a fucking you know, try and fucking ease up some of my joints.
Far. But, yes, there are a select few who think yoga is a way to trick people into worshipping the devil as opposed to just a nice way to relax. A quick trip around the internet, though, does reveal countless stories of people claiming they narrowly escaped the evil clutches of a yoga class because of the evils that lay within. Then they actively denounce yoga, which, to be honest, just sounds like a waste of everybody's time. Number 6, Obama can control the weather, so he's like Storm from the X-Men. I doubt he'd keep that
Right.
quiet if it were true. That just makes you look like an incredible bad.
This is due to chemtrails.
Now, here's the thing, right? Is I suspect I may know where the theory's going, but at the same time, I think I might be wrong in that assumption because if it's the theory, I would think it is. They would have said presidents can control the weather. They wouldn't have said specifically Obama can.
Probably I know which one the one about. I've got a feeling what they're on about.
Like I want to believe that it's the theory that the US government has set up weather machines to be able to change the weather.
I was going for cloud seeding, which is a real thing.
Yeah, like cloud seeding is a real thing. And to be fair, weather machines are an actual technology we have.
Yeah, just crap.
Just none of them are owned by the US government. They're all privately owned.
And they're working on a very limited,
Yeah, very limited area.
usually inside of a building to try and to understand weather cloud
Yeah,
formations.
I think one of like the largest ones that has been operational before is the one that's in London. I think
Yes.
it's in London 'cause it's the one that Prince very famously used during one of his concerts.
Yes,
To, like make it rain, like as he went to play Purple Rain, and then had lights shine to like make the rain purple and shit. Because Prince was very clearly gay as fuck.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yes, that was the one that the London Meteorology Institute built
Yes.
to try and create a lightning cloud.
Yes, they were the ones that originally built it, but by the time Prince used it, if I remember correctly, I think it was owned and operated at that point by, I think it's like Oxford University owned it that
Yeah.
time period, and it's now owned by like I want to say it's like Stratford University owns it now for some fucking reason.
No, I think it's actually Newcastle now.
It might be Newcastle. I know it's like a university that it doesn't make any fucking sense they own it.
I think
It's like one of the weird universities, like maybe Newcastle or Stratford or.
I think Newcastle uses part of it, the Life Museum, the Life Centre, to determine. I think they're using it in a biodome experiment.
It might be. Yeah, it's something along those lines. Either way, all I know is it's a university that doesn't really make sense that they own it, that are doing an experiment that doesn't sound like a thing that they would have any reason to conduct 'cause it's not like part of their
Because I
regular
think they
wheelhouse.
they're trying to recreate a biodome of like the Jurassic period to see if they can like trick plants to going back to how they were, a few million years ago.
The answer is theoretically maybe, but it's more likely you'll just force a new strain of evolution to occur.
Yeah, that's what my
Because
theory is.
like all living life much prefers to evolve forward than backward.
Yes,
Even
but-
when adapting to older climates, they prefer to adapt forward.
Yes, but garbage is a thing that's they're trying to use the garbage now, which the genome was like dumped.
like dead genetic markers from
Yes.
previous renditions. That
So by
like,
creating
was-
environments similar to what they used to be back then, it might cause reintegration of those markers.
Yeah, it's more likely that like the current genetic markers would become like trash markers. The old trash markers would be essentially deleted, and it would evolve new shit to do more interesting things with that
That
environment.
probably would have kept him elected for an illegal third term. It's that cool. When the president was under pressure over the IRS scandal, though, his administration apparently came up with the best plan ever. To shift the heat to other areas, they used their top secret weather machine to create a
Oh
tornado.
god, not a fucking harp. Please, not harp.
Apparently, it's hard.
I hate. I
The
remember.
thing is, right? I've heard so many different theories about what HARP is supposed to be for. That I don't even remember what it's actually fucking for.
It's an antenna system to check like how many residents from space. That's purely it. It's not even like a radio satellite. It's purely there to check background radiation and see how it affects the Earth.
Yes,
That's
it's
it.
something like that. Yeah.
And see if we can harness that radiation to like a power output. I think was one of the experiments they did with it.
Yeah.
Yes, you can, but it's not very good.
They're like you can, but there's no real fucking point to it.
Yeah, it's just a real fucking radio antennas. That's it.
Yeah.
It can do fuck all. Maximum output. You turn it up to maximum output to reduce the signal. It's gonna be less power than your goddamn bastard microwave.
I mean, yeah, that would literally release like no radiation.
Tornado that devastated Oklahoma. With that done, everyone just started focusing on that tragedy instead. Now this sounds like I've gone mad, but some people genuinely think that every time Obama screwed up, he used his device to distract from these political scandals, which would make him a massive terrorist really. It is also, of course, all ludicrous thinking. Number 5. Scientists don't want you to know the Earth is hollow.
Oh yeah, Hollow Earth theory. The Vernonites.
The thing is, right? that weirdly, I watched a video about Hollow Earth recently. Do you know where the story / theory of Hollow Earth originates from?
James Verne, I think it was.
I don't remember the name of the author. I just remember it originates from a fiction book that was written in like 1910.
Yeah, James Verne. He also wrote the Journey to Atlantis and 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yeah.
Verne, people that genuinely believe his books are not fiction. They're just like diaries of his journeys.
Even though, especially with like the book about the Hollow that Hollow Earth comes from.
Yeah.
Literally, the first page of the book says, and I quote, "This is a work of fiction."
Yeah, no, he did that in order to hide the truth from people trying to kill him. Because people literally called Vernonites, who believe his books are real, and they spent their time trying to track the things in the book because he was like a lot of real landmarks in his books. Mm-hmm. Track those landmarks to try and find the Hollow Earth and stuff like that. It's amazing. Like Captain Nemo back in the fucking 18th century in his nuclear-powered submarine.
Even though there's literally less than zero historical evidence to support the existence of a captain named Nemo.
No, it was Captain named Nemo, but it was a pirate
Not
captain.
in the time period that book is supposedly set in.
Yeah.
And
it was
he
Indian.
definitely wasn't the captain of any kind of submarine, never mind a nuclear-powered one, because we didn't have them yet.
Yeah, it was a hydrogen-powered nuclear submarine, technically. Because he used hydrogen as his base of his fuel system.
Yeah, we didn't have hydrogen-powered fucking engines yet at that time, or submarines.
Yeah, and he was Indian. If you
Yeah.
believe some of the rumours, he was either Indian or he was Turkish.
But yet somehow was working for the British Navy.
No,
In a
Italian.
time period where you weren't allowed to join the British Navy if you weren't born in the United Kingdom.
No, Italian, because apparently his base was in Venice. He's especially...
Yeah, you see the thing that people get wrong there, and you're getting wrong there, is yes, the expedition in the book was launched out of Venice, but Captain Nemo himself in the book is reported as having a British accent, specifically from England, and mentioned several times during said story that he served with the British Navy. During a time period where if you weren't born within the boundaries of mainland Britain, you weren't allowed to join the British Navy. You certainly weren't allowed to reach a rank of naval officer if you did somehow manage to pull that off.
My favourite one
Which
is...
Captain Nemo several times references having been at the very least in a command position within the
My favourite one's
British
Atlantis, where it
Navy.
keeps rising and sinking to the bottom of the ocean every 50 years.
What does?
Atlantis.
Rises and sinks to the bottom
Yeah.
of the ocean every 50 years.
Well, about 500, but it keeps going blue like that. Mm-hmm. And it was on the surface for a long time. That's when Nemo, in one of the books, Nemo stashed the Nautilus and based out of his adventures outside of the Atlantis. That's why no one could find him.
How toxic would it be for me to swallow this lighter whole? How quickly would that kill me?
Not that bad, actually.
How many lighters would I have to swallow whole to die of fucking calorie gas poisoning?
Quite a few.
Fuck.
Yeah, but first I
Do we
do
have
it.
any Vicodin in?
No.
No, I can't just get high on Vicodin to numb the pain of this entire episode.
I've got whiskey.
No, that's not good enough. That's not Vicodin.
But yeah, Vernon Knights is a real society that do believe like all his books are just travel journals. Like I think Solomon Mine's one of his as well.
Who?
The Mines of Solomon.
The Mines of Solomon.
Yeah.
As in King Solomon or Solomon Kane? Because either way I'm gonna fucking hate this.
King Solomon's one who tamed the 72 demons.
Okay, you know what, at least King Solomon historically was a real guy.
Yeah, apparently has some large diamond mines in Africa.
At least it wasn't Solomon Kane. Don't get me
Enough.
wrong, great movie. Love that movie. But also,
Damn scientists with their lies and deceit. I don't know about you, but I for one am sick of the scientist. Especially when they tell me the world isn't hollow, because it most obviously is. Not only that, but you can access the Earth thanks to a handy entranceway in the South Pole. It's a secret kept quiet by the likes of NASA and multiple governments throughout the centuries, and everything we believe about gravity and physics is utterly wrong. For the record, if you nodded your head along to any of that, you need to go and take a long look in the mirror. Very,
you need therapy.
very long look. Number 4. The US government created HIV
Oh, for
to try
fuck's
and
sake.
kill off some people. The
I've covered that one actually. I've got that other one. You know, from the AIDS and cats existed long before AIDS and humans.
Yeah.
CIA created the HIV virus and used it on the human race. Somehow, this is a widespread rumour and unfortunately has been touted by a lot of public figures, all of whom believe HIV and AIDS were created by Western scientists.
Yeah,
It's
you're
not
right,
true.
yes.
It's just
Yeah,
not.
just-
That hasn't stopped it from getting far too much steam. What would help is if some people realised the origin of it all, which is from an old propaganda campaign published by the Soviet Literary Gazette magazine. I think that sums up the whole thing quite well. Number 3, Denver Airport is the most evil place on Earth. I've never
Okay,
been to Denver.
low-key, I do partially believe this one, because if you've ever seen that fucking horse statue in person, you could understand.
Yeah.
If you, like, Because like, have you ever been to Denver Airport?
I haven't, no.
Right, I have, right?
I know the
assuming
statue
you've
you're
seen
about.
the photos of the demon horse.
Yes, I've seen the site.
The photos don't do that fucking thing justice at all.
The problem with Denver Airport as well, as I remember correctly, is like on the list of like one of the worst airports ever to try and go through.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
no,
T-
it is a shit airport.
Because the lanes are shit, they try and get to anywhere, it's crap.
Yeah, it
the
is.
TSA agents are just bastards.
I'll be honest, the TSA agents at Denver Airport are some of the nicest TSA agents I've ever come across in my life. They're wonderful. Like, I will forever argue the TSA agents in New York, specifically LaGuardia, are so much fucking worse, but I digress. Like, that horse, I swear to God, it's genuinely horrifying in person. Like, it is the creepiest fucking statue I've ever come across. Ever. Like, the photos get across that it's creepy, but they don't get across how goddamn fucking unnerving that horse is to look at.
That's what the theory is.
Airport, so I don't feel comfortable making a comment on it. But some people are keen to tell me it's the HQ of the neo-Nazis, the New World Order, the Illuminati, and sometimes even the devil. Why he lives there I don't know, but I guess finding office space can be tough. Now, Denver Airport is filled with bizarre artwork and does have a giant horse statue with red eyes, but I don't think that's enough
that's
to make
the very
them...
horse.
Yeah.
That very horse. Yeah, even that like hyper stylized edit there to try and make the horse look even creepier still doesn't do it fucking justice.
deep into it being the worst place on the planet, yet to some, that's enough. So good for them, I guess. Good for them. Number 2. Saddam Hussein's alien Stargate was the real reason for the Iraq invasion. If only this was true.
Fucking what? Saddam Hussein
Yes,
had a Stargate.
You've seen the movie Stargate, haven't you?
No, but I'm vaguely aware of what a Stargate is.
Yeah, based on the movie, it's supposed to be from Egypt. Mm-hmm. You know, because of Ra, but no, Saddam Hussein had it.
So Saddam Hussein got his hands on a Stargate of all things.
Yes, but theoretically allows instant transportation to alien planets as long as you have the right password, like address for it.
Yeah. And that's why the US invaded Iraq.
Yes. Because many people, again, think Stargate, it's a fucking documentary.
Not because, like, you know, the US economy was in tatters, the oil reserves were running low, and Iraq has, and I quote, a metric motherfucker ton of oil,
Yeah.
both in reserve and raw in the ground.
Yeah, because America at that point, during the Iraq War, like the War of Terror when we went invaded Iraq, had about 50 years of oil left.
Yeah.
And that...
They now have, what, I think 125?
they've got about 60 years left now.
Nah, they still made an up.
The Iraq War wasn't started over conflict, it was started because Saddam Hussein had a Stargate and the US wanted a piece of it.
God, I do love the fucking... the South Park's...
Tira, given how fucking ridiculous the idea is, it makes perfect sense to use the South Park versions of the characters.
It does, yeah.
Saddam got said Stargate from an ancient alien race and had it in a secret base near Fallujah. It gets better too, because the dictator was going to use his Stargate to let the alien race invade Earth, but the New World Order stepped in to stop that happening. Hopefully Kirk Russell was involved as well, because he has experience with all this. Amazingly, there are actual websites dedicated to this idea. I imagine a lot
I've
of
looked
them
into this
just
more,
copied and
actually.
pasted text from the back
I'm
of the
not.
Stargate
I'm going to
DVD box.
genuinely
Number 1,
delete that
most
from
of
my
our world
memory.
leaders
For
are space
fuck's
lizards.
sake.
Hang on, the reptilian overlords.
Not the reptilioids.
If you look carefully, you can see the zipper on their faces.
Yet another fucking conspiracy
Made famous
theory
from the
that
mind
pretty
of
much
conspiracy
only
theorist
exists
David
because
Icke,
Doctor
the
Who
idea
played
is that
it
the
with
world
it.
is secretly
And they
run
played it
by
with
shape-shifting
once.
reptilian aliens who manipulate everything behind the scenes. This cast of crazy characters include Queen Elizabeth II and Barack Obama, who are actually blood-drinking humanoids. Aside from the fact this was stolen from a TV show, which was made up, it has a crazy amount of people that believe it, and Icke's lectures draws crowds in the thousands. A survey even showed that 4% of US registered voters believe in all this.
Fuck!
It's 5.8 million people.
Oh! Yeah, that's only registered voters, imagine the unregistered ones.
Sweet fucking Christ.
Because I think only like 30%, like 61% of Americans are registered to vote.
That's about that today, yeah.
So that's 4%. That's 4% of the registered voters. Imagine the unregistered ones.
The thing is as well, is like that was registered votes, like what, 8 years ago?
8 years ago.
8
yeah.
years ago, which I remember rightly, the statistic 8 years ago for the US was like 48% of residents.
54, I think, was
Like,
years ago.
because like this most recent election cycle saw the biggest uptick, not just in like people registering to vote, like ever, but also the highest like statistical rate of people like registered voters versus non-registered, like in US history.
Yeah. The most voters in the US history actually went to the pub.
Yeah, like it's the first time in US history where the number of people registered to vote was over half.
Yeah.
Like, more than half of America voted for the first time ever.
Which is why their voting privileges should be taken away. Know of any other crazy conspiracies? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can even follow me on Twitter at SimonMiller316. I'm Simon from What Culture. When it comes down to it, I'm just a great conspiracy.
Okay, that was wild.
That was painful.
Right, so we'll go to the TikTok ones now.
Oh god.
Oh, the lowest IQ conspiracy theories from a year ago.
Either. Dealer's choice. Either way, I'm going to hate myself.
Oh, I'll go this one.
You fucking comfy back there, cunt.
Shout out to Maddie's channel.
Who?
Maddie. Or Midi.
I think that's maybe.
Maybe.
Is that an E?
Yes, EBBY.
Yeah, maybe. TikTok conspiracy theories are... yes, they are. Yes, maybe.
I don't know if it's the chill breeze in the air or the fact that it's just October. But
I can't
think
hear a word
people
you're
are
saying, but I can
genuinely
tell
going
your
crazy.
voice is
Hi, what's
fucking
up? How are
nippy.
you today? It's Mebby, and recently I have seen some pretty interesting conspiracy theories or scary stories. And so I want to have a little Halloween moment and look at them with all of you guys. And another scary thing is the fact that the majority of my viewers aren't subscribed. That's terrifying. If you are one of those people and you want me to stop having say do Williams say, but why? The reason why is kind of crazy, and honestly I don't know if I believe it. Honestly, I'm kind of scared to make this video. So basically, Beyonce, one of the biggest stars out there, right? We all know her, and everyone wants to put a ring on it. She has been played at every wedding for the past 20 years.
If you want.
Yeah, yeah. Just reading her voice was painful. Is that a Nazi dolphin?
Yes.
Yeah, that's enough internet for me for one night. Yeah, no, bye. Good night. Good night. Good. Nazi dolphins. Fuck it, I'll bite. What exactly did you guys have in mind when you said the immortal words Nazi dolphins? Explain it to me, right? Explain this proposal in the simplest words possible to me right now, please, Fat Man.
Okay.
Explain the concept of the Nazi dolphin, please. I desire to understand the mental sickness on display here.
Right, do you remember when they story about the CIA trained dolphins to go and ping enemy submarines?
Yeah, I remember that interesting concept.
Yeah. Well, apparently they stole the idea from the Nazis, who used to do the same thing with dolphins, but then strap torpedoes to them so they could crash into the submarine. To sink the ship. There's also one that the fact they transferred Hitler's brain into a dolphin so he could escape, and then transfer his brain back to another human when he got out towards Argentina.
Fucking what? The words that were just spoken to me were so fucking retarded, my brain genuinely just did a soft reboot. Fucking, what?
Yeah.
Word me again, what?
One of the theories is they get on to escape Germany.
Right, so, to facilitate Hitler's escape from Germany,
Yep. They put his brain
they
inside.
took Hitler's brain,
Yep. Put it inside of a dolphin.
they put it in a dolphin.
Yep. Seal it up for a thingy. Put dolphin inside ocean.
Right.
Dolphin swam away, got to Argentina where they removed Hitler's brain out of the dolphin and put it back into the human. I was seeing like the blue screen in your eyes just pop up there for a second.
Fucking error 404, brain not found. Fucking. So like what? So like they pre-taught Hitler before they did the brain transplant how to swim like a dolphin.
No, because natural instincts of the dolphin boy allowed him to swim.
So like did they pre-brief Hitler on like the swimming route to get to Argentina?
Yes.
Or so they sat Adolf Hitler down one day.
Yes.
Presumably with like a brain scientist and a motherfucking map.
Yes.
And went, right, mein Führer, Zeke, right? Here's the plan, right? Fucking Heinrich over here, he's gonna take a dolphin, right? He's gonna cut your fucking skull open, he's gonna take your brain. He's gonna cut the dolphin's head open, remove its brain with a spoon, put your brain where its brain used to be, right? We're then gonna put you in the ocean, and we're gonna drop you in the ocean here on the map. What you have to do is you have to go from here, swim forward a bit, turn left, right? Keep going until you get to about the end of France. You'll know it when you see it. There'll be a big fucking underwater cliff. Turn left at the underwater cliff. Keep going until you get to the end of Spain, where you'll see another underwater cliff. At which point you have to turn left again, but only slightly left in a diagonal-ish shape, and swim this way over to Argentina. At which point there will be a Nazi, presumably fishing boat, specifically waiting for a dolphin to rock up in a region where dolphins are relatively common, so this is going to be a bit of a challenge to find the right goddamn dolphin. At which point they will fish you out of the ocean with a net, bring you back to land, where Heinrich will rendezvous with you, cut your brain back out of the dolphin, right? And we've already pre-selected a slave who we're going to bludgeon to death, remove the brain of and put your brain where his brain used to be, reconstruct the broken skull we've created by bludgeoning him to death, thus allowing you to live a quiet, peaceful life unrecognized. You're telling me people believe that that's a conversation that occurred, and not only did it occur, but Hitler fucking agreed to?
Yes, because, and I quote, right, there was an experiment done in the early 50s by...
I can practically guarantee you this experiment didn't happen.
No, this experiment didn't happen because actually there's video evidence of the experiment actually happening. It's well documented.
I've heard that before.
It was basically around the same time we did the very first heart transplant was done. Mm-hmm. Right? There was a German scientist in Russia, working for the Russians, who did experiments on transplantations, surgeries. Now, one of these surgeries he did was transfer a human head onto another human body and keep it alive for I think about 7 minutes.
Correct.
Now, the thing it goes is that doctor was Hitler's personal physician, and he's the one who carried out the brain transplant.
Okay, the key flaw here, using that piece of evidence to support this idea. It would take a dolphin considerably more than 7 minutes to fucking swim from Germany to Argentina.
I know.
Based on that sole piece of evidence, Hitler would have literally bled to death and drowned as a dolphin about 5 miles off the coast of
Now,
Germany.
the reason why I say that it worked is because that was faking results for the Russians, so the Russians didn't get hold of the secret. Therefore, tracked it down.
Fuck it, no, I'm genuinely going to bed. I genuinely give up. My brain is literally on fire with both confusion and rage. Like, I feel like my head's going to pop. I'm done. I'm going to bed. I can't. Fat Man T, people at home, I'm sorry. I fucking can't anymore. I can't with this shit. This is the one and only time in the 3-year-long history of this show where I'm officially tapping the fuck out. You win. You and the internet officially win. I quit. I give up for the evening. Like, you are now, like, in this scenario, you are Dwayne The Rock Johnson and I'm motherfucking Mankind Mick Foley, and I'm saying I quit. You are now the hardcore champion of WWE. I give the fuck up. But unlike that very famous wrestling feud, this isn't going to turn out next week to be some elaborate hoax where you pre-recorded me say the words I quit and hoaxed me out with my own championship. This is me saying, as a person who is cognizant, aware of sound mind and body, that I fucking give up. I'm done. I literally can't take any more of this bullshit.
Tell Dolphins your like baseline is
like,
it?
yeah, the Dolphins were the Nazi dolphin was the straw that broke this camel's back. More accurately, it was this punch to the skull that turned CTE into a fucking mild aneurysm. like gamer, if I hear one more retarded thing in the next 12 hours, I'm genuinely just gonna die of an aneurysm, and not like a funny haha aneurysm, but like a aneurysm. You know, like a full on just fucking fucking aneurysm. You know, the old Windows Vista crash noise aneurysm. A straight up downplayed, you know, you ripped a RAM stick out of a turned on computer kind of a hard code error.
You are developing a Twitch.
Hmm?
You're developing an iTwitch.
Huh?
You are developing an iTwitch.
I am, yeah. I'm genuine. I'm like this is a bit like fuck you, like curtain pull here for the entire show. This is the only point tonight where I'm not even playing. I'm not even being a bet. Like, this isn't Vegas talking. This is actual me talking. I'm genuinely going to die. I give up. This isn't a bit. This isn't some elaborate joke. I literally can't do this. I'm genuinely gonna break. Like, the iTwitch isn't a bit. The whole time the iTwitch hasn't been a bit. I'm genuinely losing my fucking marbles here. Like, someone fucking phone someone. I'm developing cyberpsychosis. Fucking send someone. Please. Fucking phone someone. I'm developing cyberpsychosis.
Well, we end the show there. It's quite a short one, but there you go.
Like,
We've killed a man over these.
no, like, my brain is literally on fire. Like, it feels like there is a colony of fire ants inside my skull. Like, sorry for that voice break there. That was, as I was telling the people earlier, I abused my vocal cords earlier doing karaoke while playing fucking Guitar Hero with the boys. Which probably isn't helping my fucking headache at all, but still. Like...
Excuse me. Well, anyway. On that interesting bombshell.
Yeah. On the interesting bombshell of Mr. Vegas has genuinely had to break character because he's gonna die if he continues.
Good night, good luck.
Thank you for joining us, and we hopefully, if I don't die in my sleep of a grand mal seizure, we'll catch you all on the next one.
You can see the riding on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I
thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah.